Okay, we're just getting started. That's what's up. That's what we do. We get started. Don't even get me started. All right. Well, where should we start, Lucky? We've got a few different things we can talk about.
Actually, I'm not sure. I got things to talk about, but now that you mention it, shit, I don't actually know where to begin.
So we have a bevy of topics we can hit up. I went out of my way to make sure this week I watched some stuff.
Yeah.
Caught up with some
checked
stuff.
Up on you.
Obviously, game stuff has still been happening. We've also got other stuff we can talk about in the general channel-o-sphere.
Well, let's start with anime, I guess, because it's usually just to get your fresh impressions when they're fresh.
Alright. We'll start with anime, and we'll lure them into a false sense of security.
Excellent. Just like in the simulations. So yesterday I definitely heard that you said you had got caught up on Destruction Flag Otome.
Yes.
Well, at least until that point, but a new episode popped today.
A new episode come up. I have not done that today. I said that I got caught up just in time for them to release a new episode.
Yes.
But before that episode released, I did catch up, and I watched 4 episodes in an evening. I blocked out some time. I haven't caught up to the new one yet, but, we're doing stuff for things.
Well, I guess the question is, do you like it?
Yeah, so it was kind of interesting. So because it is pretty recent, I can kind of relate this. So, I'm watching the second episode, and I'm like, this first half's a little slow. I don't know, maybe I'm just not feeling it. But, then I get to about the halfway point of the episode, and there's a twist, which has thus become the pattern of all the episodes, I think, so far, where everything seems normal and typical, and then about halfway through, Katarina stumbles forehead first into something, and that's when we get the turn and we get our drama. So that, once I realized that was kind of the way the episodes are formatted, that definitely kept me in and kept me going, because with the first episode, the part that really interested me was almost the self-awareness of it,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She realizes, oh shit, I'm in this situation, I need to do blah 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 for this, that, and the other thing, and oh no, I'm in the scenes, I'm doing the thing. But, so while it is obviously good for character growth to kind of set up these characters and establish them right, like they tend to do in the first half of the episodes, also that's a little bit slower. But then it gets into in the second episode, it's, oh shit, I've stolen the romantic flags of this other guy.
Mm-hmm.
Whoops. I've completely cockled it up. And then that turns into a whole thing. So it's actually really interesting, and that's the thing that proceeds from there. I definitely see why people call Bakurita a romantic black hole, because it is, as you say, everybody in her sphere of influence just gets sucked in on account of the gravitational pull of her not being an asshole. That's her real superpower, is not being an asshole. But yes, she has the typical quality of a harem protagonist, and she has absolutely no idea what's going on with these people. I think a good example was it episode 4 or 5? But when she gets all her little gal pals together for a little snack or whatever, a sleepover, she tries to talk about romance because she's trying to figure out whether or not she's gonna die or get exiled. So she asks, "Hey, who do you like?" And everybody says her, of course, because it's her. So how Katarina interprets that is, oh, they must have misunderstood. I was talking about friends.
Yeah.
But no, you did not. That is something we can say I can appreciate for the series. It really makes no bones about the romance. Everybody just likes Katarina and just goes with it.
Yeah.
Though there is a joke in, I think, episode, I think 3 would be Sophia and Nicole, where Nicole apparently has many male admirers. His devilish charms, always uses that phrase. So yeah, so if you haven't watched it, Max is commenting about it, it is kind of like that, because the real irony of the series, when you look at it at a macro level, is that the character Katarina was quite frankly a crappy flat villain character.
Mm-hmm.
She befriends the other romantic rivals in Mary and Sophia, and they have their own problems, but they're not dicks for no reasons, right? They have complex backstories. As far as we can tell, Katarina has no complex backstory, other than that she really likes her dad and had some weird jealousy stuff with Keith in the original timeline. She's just an asshole for no goddamn reason. as evidenced by when other bullies try to bully the original game heroine, Maria, and, Katarina's just like, but why though? So, the thing is that the current Katarina has basically stepped into the heroine role. She is now the heroine of the Otome game, and she doesn't even realize it. She still thinks she's the villainess trying not to get killed, when actually now she's the protagonist, because she's stealing all the love point flags from everybody.
I can honestly, as far as isekai, harem settings go, this one is, literally one of my favorites.
No, actually, you don't have to feel bad for the heroine, because she's in the bubble.
Yeah, she has been captured as well.
I think there are some deeper stuff that the show will touch on with the heroine character, and, actually, got into her backstory, which even Katarina was like, man, I don't remember this from the game at all.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely no, she's doing great, because generally, the brains damaged Katarina is a general nice person who's not an asshole and is generally a positive influence on literally everybody.
Yeah. Everyone's life has been enriched by Katarina. Yes, also Eight's son is also pretty good too. But like I said, as far as harem protagonists, I find Katarina, because she is genuinely innocent about the whole ordeal, I don't find her irritating like I do others. We're talking about Ichika. A lot of people like to bring up the black hole that is Ichika from Infinite Stratos. And technically, Katarina is a lot, and I mean a lot more dense than Ichika for several reasons. But Katarina has literally had these friendships going for years.
Yeah, and it's funny. I think it's in the second episode where she says she thinks of herself as 17 plus 8 years old, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because she has all her prior life experience and all her isekai life experience, she counts herself as older, even though she also still acts her age most of the time. Though I do want to say it is adorable when she actually gets to school. The Council of Katarinas are still small. I love that her self-image doesn't change at all. But that is kind of the point, though.
Yeah. So, and apparently it's been very popular. I don't know where it was, but there was recently a poll in the trend on the...
it's probably because anime and manga doesn't usually blow up too much. I can probably scroll back and find it. Anime Trending posted their top 10 ships / couples of the week, and let me count, don't worry, 7. So 7 out of 10, all of which are on the rise and or were new in the time they took this poll, were Katarina and somebody.
I think it's
with
literally
Katarina
everybody.
Maria being number 1.
No, it's literally Katarina and all the cast.
Yes, it's Katarina and her harem.
Yes.
With all of them, a little bit down. So that's interesting to see. And you can see why, though, because she does, do all that genuine relationship building and stuff and actually cares. Romance is not something she's thinking about, which is slightly ironic because she obviously played all these Otome games and everything. I think it's more present in others that, and maybe they'll talk about it more if that opportunity comes up, but I think part of the reason why she's supposed to be a little bit dense about the intimate romance stuff is that, she thinks of herself as older than all these kids, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a little weird. But also, it's just, she has a lot of biases, and I think they point out that, even in the original timeline, she wasn't the best student, she can focus on some stuff, but overall, she's a very average academically. She's not I think it's a good quality. She's not a complete idiot. She even says in the episode where they bring up test scores that she's average. She's in the middle somewhere. Mm-hmm. But she's dedicated to certain things, and she's dense about social stuff because she's busy thinking about things. Oh, and also, she was hit on the head with a rock at a young age. Also,
I do like how they've just in World just explained it. Oh yeah, she used to be a bitch, but now she got in the head, and now she's different.
Well, I think the thing is that generally most people like her better this way. The only one who's concerned about it is her mother, which that's the most funny thing. The only person she genuinely has to worry about so far, at least, we may take more serious moves later. But the only person Katarina actually has to worry about so far is her mother, who's just It's like, if you're not careful, mom's just gonna, like, throttle you one of these days.
Well, even her mother, like I said, it's funny you mentioned that. This actually comes up in today's episode.
Yeah, I expect, that was the cliff on 5.
Her mother definitely, like, likes this Katarina better.
She just wishes she was easier to control.
Yeah, wish Katarina wasn't acting so unladylike constantly.
I mean, if I would tell her mother, though, I mean, there's at least a couple of these major princes who still want to get in there, so I think it's fine. all the people you think it's okay for her to marry like her anyway. In fact, like her better this way. Cause
let's see.
That
here.
Was that 3?
Two boys from the royal family, son of the prime minister and the daughter, and I'm guessing Mary's from some influential house too.
Mary's
fucking
from another high-ranking duke.
Like, no, she got the fucking powerhouse of people just
Heck,
in her hand.
even if Keith gets it, that just doubles down on the family because they're distantly related.
Oh yeah.
So, like, there's nothing wrong with any of her matchups. Even the heroine Maria is a sweet special child, which the show goes to painstaking lengths to show how that's not always a cool thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the serious twist in the last week's episode 5. It's like, oh, everything's just fine, going great, gotta see some farms. Katarina only has a boner for farming. I think it's funny also too that she starts this prospect 1 so that she has a trade, and then 2 because she wants to get closer to the Earth, and all it's done in like 7 years of study or whatever is she got a few more centimeters out of her Earth bump, which is really hilarious when she dramatically uses it. Go Earth bump. Oh, but yeah, like I said, I think that the beauty of it is that she really does critically think about a lot of this stuff, but also misses the obvious cues. Like, you can understand why she might miss stuff, because she's really got a lot going on there. But also the brain damage. But also, again, she's not an asshole about anything. That's what she doesn't want to do. Though I do find it funny that she still is like, oh, but I got my villain face. All she has to do to send people running is just give them the...
Mm-hmm. I just consider Katarina kind of oblivious, because I think the best way I've ever heard someone being oblivious is just from Shadowrun. It's like, being oblivious means that you'll spot the guy hiding the gun, but you'll miss the orc with the flamethrower running around.
Yeah, you'll catch something. You can catch something subtle you're looking for, but obvious things that you aren't looking for, just like, because at least at this point, Katarina can't get it out of her head that Maria's still the protagonist, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she naturally assumes that things are going all over the place, but they're really not. The only relationship building going on is effectively her.
Mm-hmm.
Which is
I think
funny.
Mary is my favorite because she is all like, I want that.
Yes. Mary is unrepentant in her big gay energy.
Mm-hmm. I'm not posting a gay panic.
Yay. Oh no, I think Mary's past gay panic. She is definitely, like I said, big gay energy.
Oh no,
and Katarina is also sometimes the big gay energy, because despite the fact that nominally she seems interested in the males, she goes to great lengths to talk about how cute all the girls are, because now everybody looks like they were in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, and I think I read this somewhere phrased best, Katarina as a character design looks good, but she's not as cute as the other female designs.
True.
She has like Surime villain eyes, and I think she's got like slightly sharper features. She doesn't look as kawaii as the other girl characters.
Oh, no. The way she admitted it is she looks cool.
That is a good way to phrase it, especially with like her eyes are kind of that light blue that if you think about in a certain light are kind of creepy.
Mm.
Whereas talk about a soft girl, Maria, ultimate squish girl. I think you talked about this before with doing her squishiest voice.
Yes.
Though also, here's a fun fact for the FGO fans in the crowd. I didn't realize this until I looked it up, but if I'm not mistaken, Katarina is Maya Uchida, who recently was added to FGO as Pollux.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Not real. I don't think it's real similar deliveries, but it's just a fun fact to notice. Like, oh hey, same voice. Neat.
Now they can join the club.
But yeah, so it's really interesting to watch, and I'll catch up in the episode later. But I also watched the first episode of something, so
yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah, I really need the show to be over so I can go back and watch the rest of that. So earlier this week, Ghost in the Shell SAC 2045 got the English voice cast added on Netflix. And so I wanted to make sure this week to go out and watch the first episode, and I did that earlier today. I'm pretty fresh off it, that and lunch. And I gotta say, I'm really glad I did wait for the English dub, because at least in the first episode, I can't find a case where they missed an opportunity to bring back the old standalone complex English cast. Like,
Okay.
they got, as far as I know, they got everybody. Which is good, because that's the thing I was counting on, because that's the version of standalone complex I'm most familiar with, and I'm really glad they got everybody in it, and it really flows. Like, the writing and the delivery is all just, it just slips right in. I'm just like, yes, this is totally standalone complex writing. The Major and Bato are bitching about beer in the middle of a fucking war zone, and then some guys attack them. They're like, oh yeah, I guess we just can't have that cookout. We gotta go kill all these guys. No, they don't even kill these guys. The Major instead gives them a life lesson, like she does. It's perfect. Not that I want to say no offense to Elizabeth Maxwell, who did the Major in the English versions of the Arise stuff, because that was younger. Just that's not standalone complex. Elizabeth Maxwell, by the way, you may recognize as the English voice of Sae, so obviously we like her. Just it was a different take, but yeah. So it's just real comfy. You know, they do that action scene, that shootout in the beginning of the first episode, and there's just some guy going apeshit on the saxophone. You know, you got all the bass. I do agree. I think it was Devilish who said it last week. No, the OP does suck. Like, there's a lot of good naked Major in it, but otherwise it's just like, no, this does not have the same feel. This is not in the same genre.
I missed the standalone complex OP.
I
feel like they're trying to. I think they're trying to go.
But all of them are really good. It is a shame about Orega.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of iconic for me.
Maybe that's why they decided to step away and do something so different. But at the same time, it is a big deal, because that's a really iconic part of those soundtracks. They really left an impression. Mm-hmm. This one is not so much.
No, I like the ending, but no, not the OP. But so, as I said, like you probably conned on to it. They're definitely using something a little bit more modern to our gang culture.
Yes, they definitely decided to take a modern angle about the economics. Mm-hmm. They did the whole... instead of doing the usual intro to a standalone complex is like, in the future, computers and brains and shit, everybody's doing stuff. This one was like, yo, dog, economics and sustainable war, dog. And I'm like, okay, all right. And then the first episode, No Noise, No Life, which is subtitled Sustainable War. I do love that they're still doing that. They have the big English title, and then they have the subtitle to let you kind of get the feel. Mm-hmm. It really illustrates what's going on, in that there's just people are doing quote-unquote sustainable war. The point is to expand and engage in warfare so you can pay everybody off and get your resources and whatever, and you know, all that stuff. But you're right in that definitely there are lots of little cues, you know, some of which actually, I'll ask you. So, you watched the one in Japanese, obviously.
Yeah.
Was the line about those guys being football players with defaulted student debt still in the original? They didn't change that at all, right?
No, they didn't change. That was
because that wouldn't be a substantive edit. So yeah, so even in the Japanese, that's like a whole point that mm-hmm. the goons they're fighting in the base are probably not, no. But the goons they're fighting are like they're guys who got their their student loans defaulted and stuff, and then they decided to just get back in there. The one guy does yell "death to the 1%." You want to talk about big lesbian energy? You know, there's literally a scene as Bato goes to buy, I don't know, burgers, steaks, something. He goes to buy street food. There's just some.
Well, by the way, Tyranno Cream the King, it might seem similar because Pandora Crimson Shell was made literally by the same person.
I would not be surprised. Yeah, there's a couple of different concepts. I've never watched, what was it, Denocoil, I think? Which was also originally by Shiro Masamune, I think. It has similar themes to Ghost in the Shell, but it's about kids doing cyberspace stuff. I don't think it ever got a real good export or anything, so I never saw it.
I thought it got an anime.
It did get an anime, but I don't remember it having a good export, and we were still in a little bit of the dark times, so I don't know if it's on something somewhere. I should probably track it down someday. But no, we were talking about the Major eyeballing prostitutes.
Yeah.
Because while Bato goes to buy street food, the Major does nothing but buy an apple and check out some ladies who, I have to assume recognize the Major by sight or something, because they're in there right away. Like, they're like, hey, pretty lady. And then the Major rolls out. That, or they just really like her hip windows.
I love her hip windows, by the way.
I mean, who doesn't? It's Major. She's got great legs. They reference the gorilla thing. There's good old Stan. Also, I don't recognize what they call him Omoshiro. I don't recognize that off the top of my head. Because in the English, they leave that untranslated.
Oh.
So I don't know what it means, and I didn't have time to look it up. Do you know off the top of your head, Lucky, or did they translate it?
Omoshiro? And who was getting called Omoshiro?
Stan.
Yeah, no. Not off the top of my head.
Like, because they had a really good inflection on Omoshiro, but not Omoshiroi. It's not like interesting. So I don't know. It does seem like it's,
if I saw the scene, I'd probably remember, but like off the top of my head.
Yeah, it's the new guy Stan. They give him a nickname after.
Clown.
Clown. Okay, so they just translated it as clown.
Yeah,
it's funny because I'm assuming it's for the lip flaps, even though I think most of that dialogue was cybernetic. Still, the timing. They keep it untranslated because it makes more sense as to why he doesn't get it, right?
Yeah,
because they're all talking in English. So it's pretty interesting. I'm a little sad my guy Togusa got divorced. That was kind of his thing, was being the family guy. Though that might make sense with kind of the way his character was going. He often had this problem where he would get like work obsessed or really focused. And I'm assuming this one continues from the continuity of Solid State Society because the Tachikomas are rebuilt. And if it continued straight from Second Gig, they would still be destroyed. And maybe, I don't know.
Apparently they're still referenced as Section 9, but I think that's just their personal name for each other now.
Yes, because they were Section 9. Because Section 9 was disbanded at some point. Again, like I said, hopefully the series will address any future continuity. They do address in the first episode that, I think it was Kanzaki? The female prime minister is no longer in place. Now there's some weird blonde guy. Haven't met him yet, but I'm like, you look very different. Also, I miss the prime minister. She was a nice lady. But anyway, it happens in politics. So it's obviously, again, further in the future, but I could see how Togusa got in a situation. I do love, though, that, like, first of all, I mean, they did keep what I think was a thing from Solid State, where he did switch to automatics, right? He doesn't have his revolver. He instead has a standard issue Sebero automatic pistol, which I'm pretty sure he's nicknamed the Major. He talks to it like it's the Major, which is a little weird, but also perfectly understandable.
Well, they get into a little bit about it, of how he regrets what could have been.
Yes, it talks about... I feel like the implication, even in the first scene, is just that, well, he didn't go off to become a PMC or a Black Ops or whatever Section 9 is doing, because the episode ends on a cliffhanger. So we don't really know why they're doing what they're doing. We just know that they're out there shooting stuff, being cool guys. Bato's doing great.
Bato is having a fucking blast.
Well, Bato used to be, like, Special Forces or something in the JSTF.
He was
a Ranger, that's right.
Yeah, he was a Ranger. That's why I got the eyes.
This is basically... This is his old job. He's like, fuck, dude, I just get to go into the woods and kill people now. This is way better than all that other police bullshit where I constantly was being arrested and blackmailed and have my section thrown under the bus and attacked by fucking cyborg ninjas.
Like, as you understand, Bato is literally my second favorite character in this series.
He's real cool. He's a cool guy. I like him a lot. Mm-hmm. He's a lot of fun, and I appreciate how he plays off the Major, because the Major is a work hard, play hard kind of girl. As you can see in the first episode, where she literally has a thing of Budweiser beer, drinks it in the middle of nowhere, and just goes, man, it's real quiet out here. That's cool. Oh, well, time for work. And while they're driving, she's like, let's brain dive. And the new guy's like, whoa, hold on, we're wireless. Won't we get hacked? And she's like, no, dude, you're with me. Do you see a laughing man around here? No.
I did like how they did the brain dive of how they're all sitting each other and moving through each other as they're connected. I was like, that was
also, and you can subtly tell that obviously they're getting more information than just talking, because Bato immediately is like, Major, you started drinking without us.
Mm-hmm.
I do find it funny that nobody's like, Major, are you drinking and driving right now? She's a robot, it's fine. The Tachikomas are great. Again, they got all the voice actors back for that too. They're just having a blast. One of them has a missile, which definitely doesn't blow up enough stuff, but I'm assuming that's because of the models. Battle damage is hard, yo.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose I should talk about the animation a little bit.
Yeah.
I will say this, to me, so far, the CG is, I guess, inoffensive would be a good way to put it. Like, I don't notice any difference in the art style. It doesn't come up to me. When I do pay attention to the animations, most of the time, they look pretty good, you know. People snap too. People do the stuff. They had some good car rolls. They have some good walking and stuff animations. The choreography is really good. I'm pretty sure that's mocapped.
Yeah, the Tokusa takedown I fucking loved.
Yeah, that was real smooth and real good. And it was like, oh no, they put some fucking mocap dots on some guys and did some judo. Also in the beginning, when the Major's actually out of the car and walking around, she has a very sachet walk. A lot of hips in that, and just walking around. I'm like, no, this is real smooth. This is mocap. Which probably means that later that clip about the guy flipping is not mocap, but that's probably the point.
Yeah. It's inhuman.
There is a little bit of... Sometimes there's a little bit of weirdness, but I think some of that's deliberate. Like, the weird box dog at the end of episode 1 is like, no, I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be a little freaky. Like, that looks different even in the greater context of the universe. It is a little weird to see that the modeling team, like, certain characters stand out because they look completely different, like I mentioned before, but the incredibly obvious hookers, they have very colorful, bright, completely different designs than random army dudes and little food stall lady who in the English they gave a nice comfort and southern accent to. You can tell she's real American. But I'm like, this isn't that the animation itself is weird. I'm just like, you definitely did something where you made these character designs very flashy and they don't look like they belong in this set. But that might be the point. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so far, anything that seems weird, I think, is intentional. Like, that one hacker guy was intentionally really gross and weird. That was deliberate. He was a freak show, and Tokusa cleaned his clock, give him a little zap thing. So like I said, I'm probably literally gonna leave this recording and go watch the entire series after this because I'm really happy with it. And we'll probably talk about like plot stuff later, but so far the first episode. I mean, they used the blue standalone background, so the first episode, other than it being a two-parter, feels pretty just standalone-y.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else animu do we want? Oh, well, we should mention another thing that was really interesting a couple days ago. That apparently Rumiko Takahashi has announced that she's gonna do, I think it's a new anime project that is going to be a sequel series to Inuyasha, which will involve daughters of the main characters, both Sesshomaru and Inuyasha, which has led to a big internet blow-up about who Sesshomaru's baby mama is, which I think is a valid concern, but we'll get there. I'm kind of happy and interested. Inuyasha had one of those classic anime, and so it goes endings, So I'll be like, I'll be interested to see. They got the original author on it, so I'll be interested to see kind of what the sketch is. Well, that is kind of the direction the ending goes, because the ending is like years later, and she's actually older. That is a weird thing with the yokai people, in that they're like they don't change. Inuyasha was literally, actually, yeah. If we want to get into Inuyasha being a little bit creepy, Kagome was like a first or second year in high school. She 16, 17 or something. Inuyasha's like 100, and I think he's like 150. Or was he just asleep for 150 years? It's weird, okay, guys? It's weird, but they're in ancient Japan, so nobody's gonna bat any eyelids. Anyway, I am interested to see what a sequel series would be about, and it is interesting always to see sequels and to see follow-up character designs and to see how it's informed. Like, will Inuyasha's kid be just like Inuyasha, or will she be different because of parental influence? Who knows? It's a good series. It was a long runner, but it was good. I never went back and watched the final chapter's anime. Maybe I should, but I watched all of the anime in English, the original run, and then after it ended, and I was like, "That's not the real ending, right?" And they're like, "No, it's not. They ended it so the manga could end." I was like, "Well, then I gotta read this shit," and I read it, or I read most of it anyway. That was a series that really set a lot of my expectations about anime stuff, like the fact that. Yeah, Sword can cut a dude from like a mile away. That's totally normal. Inuyasha was the first series, I think, that really introduced me to sword beams. Kenatsu, sword pressure. That was also a series that had it had a lot of intricate character stuff, and it could get real dark at times with all the mythology, but it definitely had a very almost shonen-style constant progression where every couple of arcs, Inuyasha was like, well, gotta make my magic sword better. To the point that turned out to be a major plot point that, like, his dog dad set it up so that the sword would be getting stronger all the time by absorbing things and doing stuff. Actually, it's a really good question. Is the sword going to be... Are we going to keep the sword? Is the sword going to be the full-blown magic? Are we going to start with all the abilities? Who knows? Anyway, actually, so Omega doesn't own a lot of super stuff. I have I think all the original 4 Inuyasha movies that came out. 2 of them I own on DVD. 2 of them I recorded on a fucking VHS tape off Adult Swim with commercials. Which means I have the fucking Adult Swim transitions in there, which is cool.
I love the Adult Swim transitions. Well, back in the day, I don't know what they do nowadays.
I don't know what they do now. Because who has TV these days? Anyway, yeah, so that was just a cool thing that kind of popped up out of nowhere, and I'm like, oh, well, that's neat. I'll check that out, for sure.
I mean, I saw Inuyasha and Tsushima trending on Twitter, so it was
was a big deal. All right, that's the only thing for me on anime. Those are the only things I'm working on so far. I know you've got some questions about stuff. Do you have any anime stuff you want to talk about?
Well, so I beat Sakura Wars. And because I beat Sakura Wars, that means I can finally watch the anime for Sakura Wars. And like, honestly, I don't know why Dallas is going, oh no. Now I just have a feeling of trepidation.
Well, the new one, obviously.
The new one. The soft reboot.
The one that's based on the game. Yeah. Keep up. Pay attention. Lucky's done on Thursday, Lucky did like a 9-hour stream of Sakura Wars.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm glad that I waited till I finished the game to watch the anime. Because, as I said, the anime literally takes place after the game and how all these characters have had their development and setup. And going into the anime knowing that thing, I think made things a little bit clearer. So I feel that people can watch the anime and get enjoyment, but people who have played the game get that extra layer, And it's interesting because the Sakura War anime is definitely using a lot of CG, but trying to kind of sell itself as a 2D anime. It's a little weird, but I like it. Oh no, all the girls like the captain, but they also know that he is a massive fucking playboy, which to me personally goes like, no, that's totally me.
I mean, I'm assuming they know the audience.
Yeah, because in the game you basically do have to win the affection of all the girls to get the morale up, so they can do battle goo. So no, it perfectly tracks. Sakura in the anime definitely seems more open about it, but you definitely hear that the girls are like, oh shit, like I don't want to look bad in front of the captain and such things. And like as I said, like it's real good. Something I found that they did interesting in the anime though is despite you being the main character, being the protagonist in the video game, when they switch to the anime, they actually pull back the Captain Kamiyama kind of into the background and let Sakura take the lead. It's a lot from her perspective, or once in a while they'll switch to one of the other girls of the Imperial Combat Review. I think, let's see, I think in like the first episode, he was there for maybe a couple scenes, maybe a scene in the second episode, and then he just vanished for a while. And I'm like, I can see why they do that, as I said. They're like switching tongues, and like I said, when you don't because how do I best explain this? You just spent the whole game in control of this character. You know what he's like. You know what you're doing. Now we're going into something new and different, and you want to try and take a focus away from just being motherfucking extra Kamiyama.
Yeah, that makes sense. The point is that they're doing this to explore new stories and possibly explore new characters.
Yeah.
You don't need to jump back into being the same protagonist, because how long did your first playthrough clock you, Lucky?
Oh god, it was like 20-something hours, I think.
That's still a pretty decent amount of time that they gave you running that character. And also, because you run that character and you can make choices, that can be awkward to directly translate.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen that before with stuff. You have to kind of find the heart of the character and peel away some of those options. And it sounds like they went with kind of maybe not as straight as you could run him, straight and narrow, because that's funnier. But
yeah. But I am probably gonna, like as I said, the interesting thing about Sakura Wars, it's definitely built on something. It's built on an existing franchise, and I saw they had the Sakura Wars movie on Funimation, which dealt with the previous Imperial Combat Review. So I might watch that at some time and see what other bits of media I can take in, because I really like this. I really like the mech design. They're kind of squat, but they have character.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested. I'm still interested in checking out the game. I'm just have to acknowledge that, like, no, I need to make sure to clear out my backlog. Like, I have not. I know some people are like, Omega, we really want you to finish 7, but I haven't yet. You're ahead of me again in P5R because I assume that you actually did what you said you were going to do last night and finished Sai's Palace.
Okay, so technically I did, but I'm in that period where I have to wait for the last day.
Okay, so you beat the palace, you just haven't beaten the boss. I'm only at the start of the palace, so we're in similar places, but you've gone back to being a little bit ahead of me.
Yeah. So I'll probably be finishing that after I'm watching anime because, like as I said, I find like shit's gotten interesting. Oh wait, if you're back at Sai's Palace, you've probably seen you had the event happen with Kasumi.
Yeah. Which is very interesting on a lot of levels.
Yeah, that's why I wanted you to see it. I'm like, have you got the 10-3 yet?
Yes, that was yes. When I saw that day, I was like, oh yeah, didn't Lucky say something about this day? And then something happened. I'm like, huh, interesting, really interesting. Interesting on multiple levels. One, because there's a rando palace there that had some very interesting things it said. And then obviously that Kasumi awakens, but also the thing with her sister. That was weird. But then it was an interesting character choice for her to go. I thought, like, maybe she wasn't going to join the Phantom Thieves right away because she didn't agree with them. But no, her first thought when she realized that her beloved senpai was the Phantom Thief, she was like, oh, shit, I badmouthed the Phantom Thieves in front of the Phantom Thieves guy. I'm terribly sorry, senpai. And I'm like, it's fine, because you are adorable. But then she says, no, but I'm really finally getting I'm getting out of my slump, I'm getting into my swing on gymnastics, I can't join you right now. Even though I want to help you out. I'm just like, okay, that's an interesting kind of take on that.
So this is what's bugging me right now, okay? So she had her awakening. Why the fuck is she gonna just show up randomly in Sai's Palace? That's what I want to know.
I'm wondering, we might get that because it's funny to see them still do the they lose focus on the important scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Which, now that I've, played the original game several times, I'm like, oh, yep, nope, we're doing the thing. That happens right now. So I'm gonna guess that either there will be some obfuscation, like on the day, like maybe the protagonist will make like a secret phone call and be like, yo, I need double secret extra backup. Or just, there'll be some other justification in either the reveal or in the lead up to it, right?
Yeah.
Because you are right, they did telegraph that super hard in the opening, but also it was kind of weird. But yeah, and also if you're asking, yes, that does mean I did totally clean Shadow Okamura's clock. I just had to get in there and try real hard. It was very interesting to see Cognitive Haru.
I like her design.
Yes, I like her design, and so on the one, I appreciate that yes, Okamura is kind of a tool bag. Most villains are in Persona 5. That's kind of the point. But it's not, because in the original game, it was like, oh, why don't we see Cognitive Haru? Ooh, that's not a good sign, right? Like, his daughter's not in his thoughts at all. That's way worse than, okay, yes, to her dad, she's just another yes man, but at least she's like a cool evil alien space princess robot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he gave her a fucking Dragon Ball Z Scouter, which, considering he's kind of a dork inside, or was as a child, that means something. It's like, his perception of her is not that she's, like, not there or something useless. Yes, it's still very objectifying and abusive, but at least he's... I took away, like, okay, well, at least you think she's cool. Like, he doesn't portray her as, like, bad or anything. She is a helpful part of the organization, and she's got a cool, a cute retro space princess design. The mechanic was also very, when you hear most of them, the mechanic where he declares attacks is also very funny. The weird black thing. The slutty one. Which almost I want Anne to go, hey! What did he call Yusuke? I think it was the weird one in the fox mask. Haru is the one, with his daughter's face. Joker is just, what is it? The extra looking one in black.
It's like, yes, I am extra.
Hello, yes, I am Joker. You're not. I mean, for that Joker, it'd be like, well, you're not wrong.
Exactly. Have you seen me?
I think Makoto is the violent-looking woman, or the violent-looking biker woman. It's pretty funny. I don't remember if he ever. I did the party cycle a couple times for weaknesses, but I don't know if he ever actually called out Ryuji. so I don't know what he called him, but I'm sure it's something dumb like the delinquent-looking one.
Yeah.
Like I said, I
Speaking
appreciate
of
the revamp. I really want to see Sai's boss fight. Like, that was already one that had extra bits and bobs, but now it's like, oh man, if you've done the work that you did on the others in this, there's gonna be some interesting stuff in here.
That means there's gonna be a cognitive Makoto.
I'm pretty sure, I don't know, like, that could be the big check that, like, oh man, Sai is not even thinking about her sister at all. Because their relationship does grow more and more distant as the thing goes on, until Sai has a couple of those realizations in the interrogation room where she's like, you gotta be joshing me right now. You're telling me that my sister is a phantom thief and she looked on my work computer? And Joker's just like, usually with Sai, I try not to be forceful about it, because I feel like that's not the way that would go. I usually am like, believe what you want.
Or be silent, just
like, let her reach her own conclusions, because you don't want to, like, push too hard. Because it is an interrogation, but it is also a setup to something else. So yeah. Like, the only time I'm directly is when she's like, she asks me a direct question, like, so you don't kill people? I'm like, no, we don't kill people. That's not what we do. But yeah, it's very interesting to follow, to see all the events and kind of see the different ones.
Yeah, so I'm working hellishly hard on getting my fucking confidence up.
Yes, I have now cleared out several. I got Death on Ryuji. I had Sun before. Did I clock up another one? I think I got another. Oh, I finished Temperance, Kawasumi. Got that one cleared. I'm at like 9 on Mishima, just because he keeps dodging me on days. And I'm working on a lot of stuff. I did recently max out my charm. My knowledge was maxed out a while ago. The only thing I really need is to max out my kindness, because I need that because Sojiro needs the max level to progress.
Mm-hmm.
But I got it to 4 to work on Futaba. I believe my proficiency and my kindness aren't maxed. My proficiency is maxed. My knowledge is maxed. And I think my guts might be maxed. I think I got 3 out of the... I remember having 3 out of the 5. It's been a couple days since I played. I remember having 3 out of the 5. I think it is charm and kindness I need to work on maxing. And I'm probably close on charm.
Lucky just needs to work on guts.
Kindness was a little weird to work on, because the kindness video... I've exhausted most of my kindness DVDs, I think. And all the books, for the most part. And the plant, obviously, but you can only do the plant so many times. But the kindness video game is a dice roll 1, which sucks, because even if you get more dice rolls, sometimes you just don't get that 8 that you need in the first thing, and then that severely reduces the number of kindness points you get.
What I found out is I went to Chihaya to get the stat boost, and I would either clean LeBlanc or go hang out with the kid's name. I forgot his name already.
That one yet? I don't have the kid yet.
Yeah,
I need to find him, because the last thing I did was the last thing I did before I stopped Persona 5 was I went on a crazy Mementos binge, which got me the lead up to Get Tower. Because
hanging out with him increases your kindness as well.
Okay, that's good, because I haven't started him at all, and it's already, October.
Like, so here's the thing. Yeah, we could work at a flower shop, but I got fucking confidence to raise.
Yes, once you've done the flower shop thing, that's like, no, I don't need that bad. I got other shit to do.
Honestly, if I ever do New Game Plus, I'll probably actually spend a lot more time actually being a fucking high school student and stuff, I should say, instead of, alright, I need to aggressively network.
I will definitely... I've tried to have more time to do darts and stuff, but I definitely will if I do New Game Plus, which I might. I might be in the mood to just get in there, depending on how shit works out. Especially if I don't think I'm gonna, but especially if I miss out on the new stuff. Which I don't think I will. Actually, I think I have Madoki at 9. I'm almost done with that guy, too. But, I'm pretty in there as far as new stuff is. Like, I'm as far as I can progress with Akechi. I'm almost done with Madoki. I'm maxed out on Kasumi temporarily. I'm ready to go the whole 9 yards and do the bonus stuff and hope the game doesn't fuck me over. Which it probably will. It probably will. It's not completely fixed. It's still a little fucky with your time, but it's mostly better. The reason why I went on a Mementos binge in the middle of a palace is because the game literally wouldn't let me go to Mementos because Haru was unavailable for a few days after her dad's palace. Which, if I had been thinking about things, I would have just let that sit a couple of extra days, because obviously I was done with the deadline way before, and do Memento stuff. But even then, there was still some new stuff that didn't unlock until I did social links, confidants, or I progressed the plot. So that was a little frustrating.
Oh, yeah, now that I've...
Strength was the other one I maxed out. That's right. I spent a lot of money maxing out Strength, fusing up extra personas.
Honestly, I feel like with... I don't know. I think I feel like strength is a little bit easier this time.
Oh, like, it definitely is because I don't know if it's earlier, but it definitely feels like you get pay for higher level fusion sooner.
Yeah.
And just in general, it's a lot easier to pull off, especially if you just look up stuff. And I think it's because some of the new personas are, because there's 2 new arcanas. There's extra stuff for you to fuse and to do the fusion relationship, so it flows a lot faster. I admit I followed a guide, just to get it out of the way, but it wasn't that hard or anything.
But no, like, because one thing that I found that I fucking love that they did is you can just toggle what items personas will make. So it's like, all right, you need to make a thing with this skill. It's like, let me just see if I can just turn something into that skill. Yes,
the electric chair is a lot easier, and it's a lot more common to get skill cards.
Mm-hmm.
I did that totally. I think that was the last one was, hey, can you get a Seth with high counter? And so my guide was like, okay, level this guy to this level, and then fuse him with this guy, and then fuse him into that guy. Or you can just do a certain mementos quest in the story and get the high counter skill card, and I'm like, well, that's what I'm here for. Bye, everybody. Hold on.
Oh, no, mine was even easier.
Shadow.
Fucking the full Ose, if you, he has counter regulars, but if you turn him into a card on a fucking alert, it's high counter. So I was just like, I don't even have to go do the quest. Let me just go punch.
Yeah, that was the thing. I probably could have farmed alert too at that point, but because I feel the alarm is very fucky. I don't know if I like that mechanic. Like on the one hand, cool, you can get super good personas on a day, but that's not usually how I don't like that the game randomly tells me, hey, now's your good fusion time, go fuse. Like obviously you can't sit on it, but I feel like the game really wants you to immediately go back and resolve it, and I'm like, no, that's not how I work. I need to gain like 5 levels and then fuse a whole shitload of personas at once. Game. I don't need to just fuse one and then give me an accident, which sucks butts.
I don't know. I've never like fused one because I always swap it up. Like I'll turn something into an item. I'll strength or something. Then I'll do a fusion.
Yeah, I guess, but I don't actually like to turn things into items because I'm like, I need those through things.
Again, I don't understand that because I am literally dying in money. So I can just, if I turn something into item, I can just turn around and go buy it right back.
Well, I mean, yes, I am, but no, I tend to peak money and then immediately, because, like, every time a new palace opens or whatever, it's like, well, I've got to go spend, like, 500,000 yen on buying new protectors for everybody so I don't get my ass kicked and buying new guns and blah, blah, blah. I can't sell my old guns, you know.
I don't know. My drops with laundry must have been lucky then, because I get 4. It's like, Kawakami! Do that maid!
Well, yeah, but, it's just, I don't know, like, I definitely feel like I've swelled up in money and then immediately, it's like the LMD thing in Arknights. I've swelled up in money and then immediately I'm like, well, I needed that money to buy all new stuff and immediately go through the thing, you know? So, I'm okay buying stuff back, but sometimes it's really big or I'm full and I don't know. Like I said, the way I fuse things and I play the game, it's like, I like skill cards, but to me, my mentality is not, well, I'm just going to make a skill card. I'm like, no, I don't want to make that skill card. I want to fuse new personas and do new stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. It just to me, it feels like the game is trying to sculpt my time, and I'm like, I don't care. I just want to, play the dungeon or play Mementos for like 8 hours, gain like 5 levels, and, okay, I can fuse a whole shitload of new personas. I do appreciate, though, that you can get the fuse per powerful, and like I said, it feels like it's sooner, and just, like I did with Okamura's Palace, I'm like, well, I'm just going to fuse I'm like 10 levels too low for these. I'm just going to fuse some big dick personas and we're going to take this guy out. That I do appreciate, but I don't know. It's just, to me, the alarm thing seems like it's really naggy, and I'm like, why did you do this? I guess it's more controlled than completely random. Like, I haven't had a single fusion accident not on an alarm day.
I guess. Yeah, because I remember they did used to have the accidents just really randomly.
Yes. Also, I do think they worked on the Tarano posted this a while ago. I do think they worked on the rare shadows, the gems.
Yeah, no, they definitely will just appear in a random battle sometimes.
Yes, they appear in random battles or they appear on maps. So there's now a Mementos floor type, a random floor type, where it's just like, oh, it's pitch black, but there's a shitload of rare shadows in here, right? Like, it's a lot easier to find them.
Have you ever got the Mementos floor where it's literally just one long corridor?
No, actually, I haven't seen that variant.
I have. It's kind of fucking trippy. Because it's just one straight line, there's nothing but monsters, and you're just like, it's like, I'm slightly scared.
To answer your question, Tyranno, the boss fight in Futaba's Palace is not substantively different. It is a little stretched out, but it's mostly the same.
Like, I think it's literally you have to basically be positive reinforcement for Futaba, so she pops her shield, and fucking Monster Wakaba fucks off.
Yes, there will be text prompts in it that you should answer and not be an asshole about. Because it's really your options are be a dickhead or be cool. So be cool every option, and that'll usually reward you, and you just... It's kind of a stall. You just have to try and not get bodied by the Sphinx before the game lets you do the thing. And even then, you can still do range attacks, so if you're just like, fuck it, SP, you can just go blasting. So anyway, I just started blasting.
Mm-hmm. Why is there no meme with Joker in that?
I don't know. I think it's because maybe it missed the window. Like, because that obviously came out of, like, Always Sunny after all the P5 gun memes, because boy howdy were there a lot of those at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it's kind of weird. I'm not sure why, but I feel like meme-wise, P5R hasn't really caught on. Like, I don't see a lot of new Persona 5 stuff just because the game came out. Like, I see some fan art occasionally, but it definitely feels like it didn't...
Well, maybe it's because that ship has already sailed. I guess.
Maybe. I feel like it hasn't captured the imagination. Unlike Final Fantasy VII Remake, like, even though there are some jokes where I did see somebody make a Makoto and Aerith joke because I talked about this, Makoto and Haru's Showtime Gives Me Life.
Mm-hmm.
And Makoto does get a chair in it, so... But it definitely right that I haven't seen anybody blowing up about, oh my god, Makoto hits a guy with a chair. It's all like, hey, check out my Final Fantasy VII memes. Yeah, like that thing just there. Lucky posted the smash like and retweet, but it's Aerith with the chair smashing like and retweet. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Maybe it's just because it's not new. It's not a surprise, I guess, but also it is still like it's still not necessarily a thing you expect. That's the beauty of Queen's character, the Gat Moe, where it's like she's kind of a softball, studious, you know. She's not a hard ass student council president like say Mitsuru was, where she's just like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Please just follow school rules. Okay, thanks. No, I'm not useless. No.
And then she snaps.
And then when she snaps, she's just like, I'm gonna drive my motorcycle too fast. You can't stop me, sis. I'm gonna punch bad guys. Stay in school. Don't do drugs, Joker. And Joker's like, okay.
Then he goes see his fucking back alley doctor. Is like, give me drugs.
I want to buy some drugs from your pharmacy. And she's like, okay. She's like, okay, guinea pig, but also don't die. Or you go work in the gay bar. It is kind of funny that your some of your paths don't cross. Like you do get some interactions which are funny. Like you can run into like Mitsuru is like, hey, Sutsuka got a weird guy at the planetarium. Let's go check him out. And you run into Mishima and you're like, nah, it's not him. No, it's Yusuke. Yusuke's the weird guy at the planetarium.
Yeah.
Or you run into Kawakami while you and Ryuji go fishing when you discover the fishing pond, which is great.
I still call her Master Kawakami.
She's like, it's Kawakami Sensei. But obviously you can tell that she's happy.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of stuff. But like, I feel like I'm kind of sad it never comes up that like Joker has a part-time job at Crossroads. And like, I wonder what the people on the team would think of that.
Oh no, actually, here's one I remember. I don't know if this was it might have been in there, but you go to an area with Futaba who wants to go by, and you run into the guy from the airsoft shop, and
I did that one recently. I think she asked me out on a Sunday.
And she's like, oh my god, that guy's so scary, and you're just like, nah, I know this dude.
I'm like, no, this guy's cool. He's my boss at one of my part-time jobs. Because that is definitely my current and canonical Joker, is that Joker is just the odd jobs guy. Which makes sense because I'm pretty sure as much as Sojiro is actually a nice guy, especially after crossing that line where he finds out that you're Phantom Thieves again, which is the ultimate he's a cool dude reveal, is like, I'm pretty sure he doesn't really give me a shitload of pocket money. Like, he gave me a chunk of his lotto winnings, and I think he's going to give me a prize because I finally topped first in my exams in the midterms. But other than that, he doesn't really give me pocket change, and he makes me do unpaid labor occasionally, so... I mean, I guess he is, paying for my food and board, so that's nice, but still. So Joker is just, like, constantly working odd jobs.
I think curry is his literal staple diet right now. Is Joker's third.
Well, when you get a fucking phone message in the morning, in the early morning, you're eating curry and coffee. And Sojiro is like, dude, the curry will get cold. That's not necessarily my whole staple, though, because I will often ask Ryuji out, like, yo, you want to get some ramen? Want to get some beef bowl? Oh, by the way, we had that question of what restaurant it is. We're dumb. It literally says Fox's Beef Bowl on the outside. But yeah, so I like to ask my friends out to food. So we eat around a little bit. Usually, I think your friends must pay or something because you don't get charged.
I don't know. I've been Oh yeah. I think another thing I can use to work on kindness and charm was go to the maid cafe. So Joker was eating at a maid cafe for like a week straight.
Yeah, that's a pretty consistent thing. Is that drinking coffee and going to the maid cafe gets you good charm.
Yeah, charm, and if you forgive the clumsy maid for her mistakes.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, but I think it's just so that the game doesn't charge you all the time because it already has confidants, which literally require money. Like, Chihaya literally requires 100,000 yen, which is like, isn't that the equivalent of like, how many decimals is it? Is it 2? That's like $1,000 American? Is that how the conversion works?
It's a little bit different than that.
It's a little bit different, but it's around $1,000.
Yeah.
Now, admittedly, you get free money for punching supernatural demons in the collective unconsciousness, which is weird, but that's still a fuck ton of money. You know, Kawakami needs like $50 every night, basically.
No, listen, you don't understand. I like every time I'm playing the game and I see my money, I'm like, I have like 250,000 yen, and I'm just like, I should not have this money as a high school student. What is my life?
The beauty of it is though that you go to the airsoft boutique and you spend it all.
Well,
which your boss never questions. He never questions. It's probably because he saw us he saw us pawn that fucking Olympic gold medal. He never questions how you can afford like, you know, $200 custom airsoft guns. He's just like,
dude,
your money spends. He is. He's like, dude, because he takes all your treasures too. He never asks, why do you have a fake painting or a golden clasp or a weird rocket ship part? And he's like, don't ask. Joker's like, if Joker has enough guts to actually do his social link, he's like, don't ask questions. And he's like, good. Good answer. Correct. Here's your fucking money. Yeah, so that's always a fun one. I've been doing those off and on in the night.
Like I said, Joker's like compound is literally just him working on his fucking crime empire.
Yes, Joker, you are literally building the Phantom Thieves network. You've got a guy to give you custom tools and to fence your shit. You got all your medical expenses covered by your favorite back alley doctor. Your school is covered, which is great.
You have it in with the press. You have a politician
you have a press
on your
source,
side.
You have a politician on the inside. Yeah, exactly. Joker is the guy who's like, I got a guy for this. I got people. Like that's the if it ever comes up, you know, anything going on, it's like, don't worry, I got a guy. I'm like, Joker, how do you know so much about tactics? I'm tutored in shogi. You know, Joker, how do you know so much about being such a good talker? I interned for a politician for like 2 months straight. You know, all that stuff. Joker, how much do you know so much about what's going on? I never see you read the news. Dude, I talked to a reporter in a bar where I also work. Joker, you work in a bar? Yes.
Aren't you a minor? Maybe.
Doesn't matter. Lala Chen takes care of everything. And I love that she fucking phones you. Because all your jobs do, but it's just her, right? It's not like the convenience store or the beef bowl shop. It's like, hey, just letting you know if you want to work part-time, it's a special day. She's like, kid, I'm fucking swamped tonight. Come in, please. Don't worry, I'll pay you extra. I'm not an asshole. And I'm like, no, you are not.
Because with the part-time jobs, it has the shop icon. Well, Lala is just fucking Lala.
Yeah, no, Lala's like, I think she literally gets your phone number from Ohio, and it's just like, yo, come in, do work. And I'm like, okay. Because you
again, like when I do New Game Plus, and I don't have to spend so much time fucking.
Yes, I will definitely need to fill time. I think at great points of the game.
Yeah.
Not that I will need the stat ups, but it'll be a way to gain money that's not just blitz through mementos with a certain spoiler persona. Sorry, I hit.
Well, I don't know. Like this is because like there are things like I actually do enjoy playing. Like I enjoy playing darts. I like I've always loved fishing.
Yeah, darts is good. I don't fish enough in my base game. I need to take some time. That's I don't like hardly go to the batting cages. I feel like I probably will do New Game Plus just so I can enjoy a lot of the mini games and stuff, and also just hang out with people more. Because that's something that it's like I feel like it's hard to justify. Like especially when your social link is over, your confidant is maxed out. I feel like it's hard to justify like. I could go hang out with Ryuji and we could go someplace. Or I could work on building my relationship with Futaba or Makoto or Yusuke. Mm-hmm. Poor Yusuke is still at like level 4 even though I'm in October.
Oh, I recently finished Yusuke and I actually like what they did. They actually made it so one of his abilities now is and whenever he copies a card for you, he'll just add it to his list and you can just have it copied whenever. You don't need another copy of the card.
Nice.
And then he gets the ability that he can do it, because usually it takes one day. He gets the ability to do them just one for free every day. I'm just like,
Neato.
oh, that's
good. That's a good. There's a lot of those little bug fixes. Like Ohaya's link is completely different. She changes the way the base level of suspicion is handled and kind of how it different is. Like I'm at like 5 with her now, so it's like a palace starts with lower security. Because I believe the base security level goes up with every new palace. They start with lower security. You automatically reduce it whenever you defeat an enemy, not just when you ambush them. And
that's a Kawakami. I'm retweeting that.
And at this point, also it also is like you gain less when shadows spot you too. Like it's better, but not it's not as niche as it was the first time, and it's still applicable because they changed the way some of those mechanics work. You know, so it's good. I haven't got super deep on Chihaya either, but I think she's slightly different. Like the first thing she does is now tell how close you are to getting a thing accurately. I believe at level 5, which will be my next level with her, is she gives you a boost to a confidant of your choice. Kind of thing. Which is, that's an ability I actually, especially in my New Game Plus, I really love, because that's like, well, I'll definitely get these confidant links. Because I believe even if you New Game Plus, if you want to get all the abilities back, you still have to go through all the steps, unless they change that. You get to keep the ultimate persona trinket and keep some of the ultimate abilities, but you don't have, definitely for party members, if you want them to do all the stuff, you have to do the link again.
Well, I think they get like maybe like their unique abilities. And
I think like some of their capstones are unlocked, but it's definitely like for party members, if you want them to do like endure and take the bullet and stuff, you have to do the whole thing again.
Yeah.
I appreciate though. I wonder if your baton pass level carries over. I could see it not, because that really gives you a reason to go whole hog on darts.
Who knows?
We'll see. We're not there yet. We're working on it.
Let's see. I guess I'm still wait, I'm trying to get to that full new content.
Yes, I want to get to. I want to see the third semester, and I hope that it is full. I hope it's not a spoiler to say that I've learned that the game does go all the way to White Day for sure.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, it goes till March. So we get the whole thing. Neat.
A Phantom Thief enemy?
But yeah, so like I'm really hopeful I get there, and I hope it's not too hard to get in there. Like I said, I'm working real hard on the new stuff. Kawasumi's handled. Akechi won't talk to me yet.
Oh, once you are like in size, he should call you, because I'm up to 8, and he's just dropped a bomb on me.
Okay, that's good. All right, so that's my next step is 8. So after I get into the palace, he'll actually hang out with me again. Cool. Then I will definitely spend this whole month maxing him and nobody else.
Oh, you're playing Darkest Dungeon. Okay.
Constant talking to Akechi. Hopefully it's not too hard. I always have, I'm up to power right now, but I always have a Justice with me, just in case. So I'll max his ass out, and I will also try and finish off Maruki. I believe that there's not a cutoff date for Maruki.
Yes, there is. I think he leaves, like, November 18th.
Okay, well, I've got him at, like, 9, so that's fine. That's mid-November. The question is just, can I hang out with him during November? Because I'm dead. Spoiler.
So, may I spoil something for you?
Yeah, go ahead.
Maruki's final pip is story progression.
Okay.
And Akechi's 8 and 9 is also story progression.
Alright. So the pip once he's at 8. Because I have him at 7 and then he stopped talking to me. Or is it maxed in anyway? Okay, so his 10 point is the same as the original. Alright.
Yeah. So
that's still pretty good. I think I've got everybody settled then. If Maruki's final is story lock, I need to double check. I've got him at like 8 or 9, and I think it's 9.
Yeah. Then you should be okay.
Alright, that's good. That's cool. Also, that does remind me. So speaking of like wanting to have free time to just go hang out with people, that's something I'd love to do with Kasumi, because I feel like they almost did her dirty by making her cap out at 5. Because you can cap out at 5 very early, and then it's like, okay, Kawasumi, you're cool. I see you hanging out in the new area, but we can't go hang out now because I have to go work on other social links that will actually progress.
I do like that they keep giving her story bits.
Yes, they keep involving her character. They don't ever let you forget that she's there and she's part of the game now.
Like in the school festival, they actually brought out an animated scene of her dancing.
Yes, that was the scene we saw, but I'm so glad it came up because it furthers her deep attachment to Senpai, and also it's real fun. Joker busts out some moves.
There were some sick moves, yo.
He feels the vibes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, then she busts out into her, basically, ballerina thing. Which is, that was a trait they talked about, but it's really neat to actually still see in play, especially after getting to know her for like 7 months? We start in 3, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because that would make sense. We start in March, and then we end in March. We bookend completely. It's a full year, finally. I don't know how fast some of those last bits go, but I do. I kind of, that's kind of the problem with the way P5 ended originally, was the final month is definitely a plot month, and then it doesn't stop.
Yeah, it's like, guess what? Spoilers, you're in jail.
Yeah, it's like, Sai is like, cool, you saved the world. In order for this to work out, you gotta go to juvie for a while, but don't worry, I'll get you out. And then it's like, montage! Literally a month passes. Fuck you. No January. I'm like, okay. You have enough time to go on your date at Christmas, and then you get out for Valentine's Day, and then it's fucking over.
Mm-hmm.
It just skips past everything.
And then you go back to your asshole parent.
Yes, but also structure-wise, P3 gives you the extra month after midnight of December, and then is like, okay, now you have until the end of January to finish it. And you can still do stuff in that last month. Then it hard cuts to the end. Because of reasons. Plot reasons. Plots.
I need to go beat P3 again, because I beat it like an eternity ago, and I can't remember shit about it.
I remember the rough bones pretty good, but it has been a while since I played it too. But it's a real solid game. It's just going to be really weird to play, because they did a lot of quality of life. Hey, spoilers, in case you forgot this, all your party members are going to be AI only. You cannot direct control them. That wasn't until Portable, I think, when they stole that from 4. Though, who knows? Do you still have a PSP kicking around?
Yeah, I do.
You could probably track down Portable if you don't own it already. That's probably got some quality of life stuff in there.
I might. But... Oh, Omega, I just realized, because my monster has not been opened. Did we ever do the Patreon?
Probably not. If we skipped it, we rolled right into anime and we kept going.
Yeah.
I can do it now, or I can do it at the end and cut it back.
Yeah, it's up to you. Either way.
Yeah, pop your monster. I'll just do it at the end and cut it back in the beginning.
But, like here's the thing, like, P5 is such a different game, I don't know if I can go back to regular Persona 5 and be okay with it.
Definitely not. No, that's like I feel the same way. Like, I played like P3 Fez, I would never want to try vanilla P3. I never really did, but I'm like, no, there's definitely a lot of different stuff in here. There's just extra shit to do, there's extra ways to grow, there's extra story beats. There's really no reason to, now that Royal has come out, play vanilla P5 again. Unless there was, like, some specific mechanical thing they goofed up. Or, like, you missed all your trophies. You didn't, though. You platinumed it.
Oh, I didn't platinum, I almost have.
Well, maybe that is a reason, but also I can see why not, because, obviously, I don't care so much about completion.
I think there's, like, 3 trophies I need to get, and one of them...
myself. I got, like, 3 or 4 Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy Duelist trophies on stream, which I made sure to chuckle about. But yes, P5s. P5R is good. It's real good. And that's even just as a remaster of P5, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which really it is, because you can tell that they were like, no, this is only going on PS4. The hardware is better. We can... the pictures and the new face inserts, and even the new... Like, it's a little weird when I see new animation of, like, even the models, because I'm like, this is clearly higher res than the old animations, but at the same time, it is better. It's a little jarring sometimes to be like, whoa, this is clearly higher quality, but also it's good because it's higher quality.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, we've been going for about an hour 15. We've talked about anime, and we jumped right into Persona 5.
Yeah. As I said, I did beat Sakura Wars. I really like it. I liked it enough that I said, alright, I'll just start fucking again. Not fucking again. I'll start all over again. And this time I'll actually... Yeah, here I go fucking again. And I'll actually probably get it streamed this time. So I started a new Game Plus, and I'm just going to be playing that on streams until that's done. And everyone gets to see the extraness that is Kamiyama. This dude's fucking extra. And I fucking love him so much. A dude that makes that face can't be anything but extra. So, there's that, but other than games, I think that's about it, because I said I beat Remake a long time ago, and unfortunately I have no real interest in beating it on hard. Oh, excuse me. Thank you, Carbonation.
Yeah, I've been trying to work on it, though. Some of it is just like, I'm in 12 now, and I hit a point where I'm like, man, we're suddenly really in a heavy place. I'm not in the mood for this right now, so I stopped at a night and went and did other stuff. That means I did do the whole train thing. They really did some work there.
Yeah, they did.
I think that's one of the most major plot parts of the chapter that is, like, really, really different. Because I think it's, like, 3 fucking screens in the original. And it's like a whole fucking thing. When
I think it was more than 3 screens.
Ghosts and demons and shit, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening here?
That fucking boss battle in the control room, you're just like, what is happening?
was a really weird one. It continues to reinforce my belief that Final Fantasy VII really wants you to take advantage of the fact that you can just reload the last battle and go like, oh shit, I fucked up your weaknesses. Let me go back and completely change my materia. Which is possible. I actually, because I'm fighting a lot of Shinra guys, but Cloud is solo right now, that's where I am in Chapter 12. Well, okay, I can say where I am in Chapter 12. Somebody has just died for the first one. So I'm like, But I was able to go, oh, hey, Aerith, you're holding the fire material right now? Just let me slurp that from way over here and slop that into Cloud. Even though that makes no goddamn sense, but I appreciate it, game. So I'm working on it. We'll get there. So something that I have been doing through, I don't know if we want to talk about other video gamey stuff, but something I have been doing while playing video games more, both P5R and Final Fantasy VII when I feel like it, is I have been gotten back into my Dresden re-listen kick.
Mm-hmm.
Got through Summer Night earlier, and then kind of fizzled out a little bit. So I've completed Death Masks, and I'm now in Blood Rites. So I'm, one novel's down out of the way. And at first I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to get it. But once, as is usual with Dresden, once you really get the ball rolling, it's really like, I remember all these scenes. And some of them I'm like, man, this is early. Like, I always think that Harry doesn't figure out Nicodemus' noose until the second time. No, it's the first time. That's how he gets away. And a lot of other fun little stuff. By the way, Lucky, do you know that the Jim Butcher has been posting microfictions on his website?
No.
Have you read all 4 of them?
No.
Okay, you should. There's some very interesting stuff in there. Some of which talk about characters, like they're slightly spoilery, like the most recent one, Job Placement, checks in with Bigfoot Kid and just sets up that Bigfoot Kid is coming back because he was in a different place and now he's like, oh, let's go to Chicago. I'm going to help out that wizard guy. He definitely doesn't sound like that, by the way. He's part Bigfoot. He's fucking huge. I think one of these microfictions has the first time that Mechanic Mike actually shows up on screen, as it were. Which is cool. There's some spoilers for some other things that I read back. There's a very interesting microfiction about Morgan, which is really something. Very interesting. You should definitely track that one down.
Mm-hmm.
But they're really interesting, so I've been following the railroad. That got me thinking about stuff. So, I will say, that made me reread For Reasons the Christmas Eve story Jim did a while back. I think it was this Christmas. So, no spoilers about what's in it for people. Lucky, did you read that at the time? You probably did. I think I linked it to you.
No. Maybe.
You should check it out, because I have some stuff that, there's some stuff in it that's really mentionable, but you should check it out, because it was, I believe, supposed to be set that Christmas that it posted, which means it is technically after peace talks.
Oh, no, that's right. Yeah, I did read that, where fucking Mob and fucking Kringle show up. Yeah.
Yes. And
okay, I did
the point of that is that Mab, Queen of Air of Darkness, has seen Frozen. And he well, that would be a spoiler to mention. She, as part of the obligation of winter, she presents Harry with a trinket to give to somebody that's a magic ring that gives them ice powers for a little bit. And Harry's like, after it plays Let It Go, is like, so is this going to turn people into ice statues and freeze their hearts? And Mab turns to him and says, that's what it does in the motion picture, does it not? Should I have cheated? Should I have cheated them? And I'm just like, no, that sounds about right.
I love Mab so much.
She's great. Also, Mouse has read... I like how Harry phrased it as, Mouse, you've read A Christmas Carol? Not you've seen it, but you've read A Christmas Carol? But I would believe, because Harry is building a bike, and Mouse literally translates the instructions for him, which is great. Mm-hmm. But also, there's a pretty big tell in that one, because another Christmas present Harry gets is that somebody pays off all the hospital and funeral bills, of which there are a lot. And this is after peace talks, and I was just like, oh, I didn't get that at the time. Shit. So, that's interesting. That's real fun.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be great to read that in a couple months, to get in there.
Yeah, as I said, I still haven't committed to my re-listen. Because I'm still debating if I just want to start from Stormfront or start from, like, Summer Nights. I'm like,
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I when I was continuing, because I kind of, I don't know if it was just the place I was at, I kind of petered out. I was kind of like back and forth on Summer Night. I'm like, I do like Summer Night, but also it's like, it's a little bit of a slow starter. Summer Night really, like, dogpiles on Harry fast. Is the thing.
It does.
And I'm like, man, this is this is a little intense to get through the stuff just to get to the part I really like is just the climax. Like, that's the really, really good part. And not that they're not all good, but, like, that's the real get you moment. Whereas I feel like, and maybe that was an improvement to his writing, when you go to Death Rights, that's got a lot more, because that has multiple plot threads which have multiple climaxes. Multiple stuff kind of happens in there, which is cool. But, so I was kind of like, I thought to myself, do I want to just skip to Deadbeat? Because Deadbeat is another point where you can just get in there. But I was like, no, I really do. I definitely want to do Death Masks for reasons. And then it's like, well, if I'm doing Death Masks, I might as well do Blood Rights. But also Blood Rights is great for a lot of reasons. Funny reasons. But yeah, so I'm on like chapter 6 of Blood Rights right now. And I will continue to go and see things, because it's cool. It's going to be really interesting. I think the ones I've listened to the least are the newest ones, so that's always interesting to get back in there, to hit up Change's Ghost Story and Skin Game. And Cold Days. That's right. I was like, wait, I miscounted. No, Cold Days is definitely in there. I think I've done Cold Days more than Skin Game, because Skin Game was the newest one.
I like Skin Game. I think I've listened to that one on its own, just because it is a fucking heist movie.
Right, and also it's got the classic heist twist where, literally in the narration, Harry goes like, hold on a second, we have to go all the way back. And I'm like, oh, perfect. It's got reread value, basically, because there's twists in it that are like, oh, ho, ho. So that's really like, cool to read back.
It's like enemies become allies, allies become enemies. It's just like, it's a big thing, Skin Game, and I really like it. And I really like
it's got a lot of deep steps. Also, it's not for people who aren't into it, to spoil Harry's new job, but those books that are set in Harry's new job phase are really interesting for a lot of reasons, because you get to hang out with a lot of interesting characters. Like, Cold Days is similar for that, but also, Cold Days has the... So I feel like there are two different starts to every Dresden Files novel. There's the Harry is immediately fucked, like, Summer Night type, and even Cold Days is similar, where it's just like, or especially Changes, which is Apocalypse from day one, where it's just like, so Harry, there's some really, really bad shit happening right now, and you're in it immediately, and everybody's fucking you over. Like, that's how Summer Night really feels. Harry gets fucked over, like, 3 ways in the first, like, 5 chapters. Whereas, arguably something like Death Masks or Blood Rights starts small, even though Blood Rights does have the best opening, I think, of any Dresden Files book. That's the one with the building was on fire and it wasn't my fault. That's a slow build where Harry gets kind of gradually into a case, like, oh, hey man, can you do me a favor, do this case, take this job on? You were recommended by so-and-so. And then, much like how I joked about how Baccarina stumbles into everything forehead first, Harry will just inevitably trip over an apocalypse or two in there. You know, a dark conspiracy somewhere, just trying to do his fucking job. Skin Game is arguably like that. Like, Skin Game is arguably Harry's day at the office, right? That turns into a heist movie. He's just doing his business, and his employer is like, sup, dude, I got something for you to do. And he's just like...
Skin Game starts off with Harry going, parkour!
And it's a running joke.
Harry...
I appreciate watching that growth, because, like, in Summer Night, Harry does not have his shit together for reasons of grave peril. If you know grave peril, you know why he doesn't have his shit together. After that, he kind of starts getting his shit together, and it becomes a key point. By the time of Death Masks, that's where he mentions that he started running. He started, doing he does not skip leg day. And then, by the time we get to Blood Rights, he's, like, going to the gym and taking self-defense with Murphy and stuff, and, like, so Harry Dresden is a wizard, but he is not a typical wizard. He fucking exercises all the time. He practices close combat. There are some great lines in Death Masks where, like, Michael, Knight of the Cross, and another guy, and, well, I could say it's Nicodemus. There's no spoilers that Nicodemus exists. It's his debut novel. So Michael and Nicodemus are fighting, and Harry's with another guy, and he turns to me just like, you know what I think? Harry's like, and Harry returns, I think you want to shoot him while his back is turned? He's like, yeah. And Harry's like, okay, I agree, and just draws his fuck-off revolver. Like, that's what I like about Harry. Harry's like, he's kind of a good guy deep down, but he's not afraid to just go, he's not afraid to be Harrison Ford, Indiana Jones in Temple of Doom, and just draw his gun and blast that guy. No, I'll tell you, this axe, it is a little bit of a long shot. Yeah, it's Raiders. Sorry. It is a little bit of a, because obviously there's, Skin Game is 15, right? And so Peace Talks will be 16, and that means Battlegrounds will be 17. Hopefully Mirror Mirror will be 18, and Jim hasn't changed his mind about that one. So there's a lot of them, and they get longer all the time. I think Blood Rights is 40-something chapters. They are good audiobooks. They have really good audiobooks.
Yeah, I would highly recommend getting the audiobooks.
James Marsters embodies Harry in a really interesting way.
I can't unhear James Marster. I really can't.
No, because he does. He really, like I said, really embodies the character in a lot of ways and has brought a lot of the Harry energy. Like, they didn't get a bad guy to play him in the trailer, but like, just after hearing him, because it's a first-person narration, so it is so iconic to me that how Marsters presents Harry and the voices and stuff. And, like, he does the whole thing, like, and actually, it's interesting, because in Aftermath, which is a short story from Murphy's POV, she talks about how Harry speaks and how normally he is pretty quiet and reserved, and that is how Marsters presents him, but sometimes he just starts fucking yelling, and he's loud when he yells, and that is how the audiobooks go.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think my problem is, like, Omega, you say you like to listen to, like, audiobooks and stuff while, like, you're playing games and stuff. I can't do that, because usually if I'm playing a game, I'm usually also playing a second game. So I don't think I can play.
That's fair. Sometimes if it's simple, I'll triple task. Like, I've did some interludes, or I ground some Arkanites while also listening. But yeah, I'm usually, like, because I'm old school. I still have a standalone MP3 player so I can listen to podcasts and audiobooks. Like, I literally bought a new one when my last one broke, because that's how I do it. So,
the first 3 books are Stormfront, Full Moon, and Grave Peril.
Yeah, Stormfront's the first one. And I will warn you, a lot of people agree to this, the first 3 are rough, especially the first 2, but you should give them a shot. If you can't stand them, you can probably skip to Summer Night.
Yep.
Or at least try to skip to Grave Peril. But if you can stand them, they do get better, is the thing. Because I know some people were really turned off, because Jim's been doing this a long time. Stormfront was...
Actually, I should check my credits actually for Audible, too. Think about it.
Stormfront was originally titled Semi-Auto Magic, and it was the novel his professors had him writing in college, which he fine-tuned and turned into Stormfront, which started our favorite thing, which is that he always names the case files the same number of... 2 letters, 2 words, same number of letters.
Yep. Stormfront,
Full Moon, Grave Peril, Summer Night, Death Masks, Blood Rights, which is R-I-T-E-S, Deadbeat, which is a great name, Proven Guilty is after Deadbeat. That's going to be a big one. That's one I really want to get to. Deadbeat and Proven Guilty are some real heavy shit. Oh, it's the same word. It's this 2 words, same number of letters. So if I type out, and then as an example, you see that they're mirrored. So Proven Guilty is next. Then I always get these these last couple confused. It's after Proven Guilty. Is White Knight after Proven Guilty?
I couldn't tell you.
There's a real blurry period between Proven Guilty and changes. Like, I'm like, which one was which? So I will look it up. So Proven Guilty is 8.
Actually, do I still have the Dresden Files audiobooks downloaded? I might.
Oh yeah, so it's White Knight, Small Favor. So yeah, it's White Knight is the next one. I did call that right. Then Small Favor, and then Turncoat. And mostly I get Small Favor and Turncoat confused. White Knight I follow pretty good. And then there's Changes, which is the only story that breaks the mold for reasons. Then it's Ghost Story, Cold Days, Skin Games, Peace Talks, and Battleground as 2 words. And also I appreciate that there's that his 2 collections of short stories are they're themed but they're similar. So it's side jobs and briefcases. So it's pretty funny. The comics also mostly follow, though. I haven't read a lot of them, but the comics mostly follow. I think the only one that breaks it is Welcome to the Jungle, but then it's Ghoul Goblin, Warcry, Downtown, Wildcard, Dogman. I think I've only read Warcry and Welcome to the Jungle. I don't remember Ghoul Goblin at all. But yes, there are also comics that are side stories and interquels. There's also a really good RPG.
I did like the Dresden Fates tabletop.
Yeah, fun. Definitely. The Dresden Files RPG is definitely a good one that I could see getting back to at some point. That was a lot of fun. We played fun characters. I would love to do the actual campaign version, where instead of like interconnected one-shots or whatever, we gotta actually do the whole city creation, build a city, do the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which we set up for, but then we immediately got bamboozled out of.
Bamboozled! That happens.
We got a larger community. We could probably find more people interested in that though now. So does that mean we want to transition to talk about community stuff? Because we've been going for an hour and 30.
Yeah, we can switch.
Okay. Do you talk first or I talk first?
You can talk first.
Okay. Well, So, we ended up having a little conversation with the community last night, technically this morning.
Mhm.
Not out of the blue, but it was just kind of, that was the moment when it happened. And we did have some stuff, and I'll probably mention some of these again on Let's Talk FGO just because that hits our wider audience, right?
Yeah.
And some of it is basically FGO related, or Let's Talk FGO related.
Far away now, but because I'm laying down to ease my old man back.
Construction Lucky's old man back. But, there were just a couple of things I want to mention. So, we did do a community post about this. I've heard from people that they want us to use Community tab more, and I'm like, okay, I can figure that out. Obviously, we do also still want you to check out our other social media, because I also don't know how much you look at or see community tabs, but we'll try and use it occasionally. Like, I think that maybe I'll use it to let everybody know what I'm streaming beforehand, unless it's a surprise. But to remind people that I am streaming this day, because I know that the whole social media thing sometimes doesn't hit on all cylinders. That's why we try to hit all angles to be like, hey, there's YouTube notifications, hey, there's a Discord bot, hey, I tweet it, the whole thing. But sometimes that doesn't work, so we'll try and remember that it exists and get more angles on it. So I think that's what I'll do, and maybe we'll run some polls. The question that came up today, though, was more about just a question, because a couple of people it came up the last time I think we had a big conversation with people, is that, like, they are interested in seeing us do more collabs. And at the time, we definitely said, like, okay, we're open to that, but that's also not just something we're going to get in. Like, I think we got a little spicy about it last night, but I think the thing I phrased it the way I see it is that we're not whores, though, right? Like, we're not going to go begging for people to collab with us just so we get more views. That's not what the channel is about.
Yeah.
And also another thing is that, like, yes, we can easily just talk to some of these people. We do know some of them. We know their names and whatever. But we also don't want to... It is a professional relationship, though, right? We're not close friends with anybody else in the creator community. We're not even really close friends with Voice. We like him, and occasionally he chats at us and we chat at him or whatever. We'll drop a mention to him or whatever. But we're not like... We're probably closer to people in the community than we are to other content creators, as it were. Yeah. Which some people might find weird, but no, that's kind of how we run this show. So you have to walk that very fine line between, hey, do you want to do a thing either as like a collab or like just as like a business thing, and then sounding like we're, begging or whatever. Like we don't want to annoy people in their home time and bother them just to get them to do something to us that we don't know if it'll work because we have no idea what we're doing. There does generally seem to be a little bit about it, and hey, this is very important. This part is super important. We're at 2475 subs, around 25 away from 2500. That's got some great symmetry there. But if you care one way or another about this, you really got to let us know, because yes, a couple of people have specifically mentioned to us about the collab thing. But if we take a look at this in like a larger audience, that's still only like 5 people, maybe tops, out of nearly 2,500 people who are dedicated enough to subscribe to us on YouTube. We've got 300 people in the Discord. Like, the fan base is bigger than 5 people, so not to sound like I'm dismissing those people's opinions. We take your feedback. How's that phrase go? Is it wars are won by those who show up?
Yeah.
So that definitely applies. If you're not giving feedback, well, guess what? We can't respect and evaluate your opinions because you're not giving them to us. So we are interested in that, I guess, because we have always been open to that. We've definitely said that if you're interested in being a guest on the show, let us know. But we also don't really know who and when to just hit up people and be like, yo, you want to be on this show? It's true, our most viewed video is a collab, but it was also kind of special because it was also a year in review thing. And, well, it does kind of, because of basically a voice bump, it does stand a little bit head and shoulders over some of our other videos. Our 4th most highest video is also the 3-hour video we did at the start of this year, and it's still got more views than we have subs. And actually, let me check the ratio. I think it's 60-30. We have a lot of analytics available to us, and I should probably look at them more consciously all the time. Yeah, it's about 60-30. About 66%. 2/3 is subs. 1/3 is non-subs reviewers. So that is also, I believe, the blend on this one. Or is that closer to 50-50? I'll check it. Okay, so it's a little bit closer to 50-50 with the voice video.
I love these stupid cat videos.
Stupid cat videos are fun.
Well, no, these are they're ridiculous.
It's a little animation.
Yeah.
So yeah, I generally get the impression that some people are like, "Oh, that would be kind of cool if you guys did a collab or something with somebody," but it's like nobody who wants these really has any firm opinions about what should be doing. It's almost like it, not to belittle it again, not to. We're trying to be very, or at least Omega is trying to be very careful to be sensitive to people's feelings and opinions. I don't want to feel like I'm dismissing you or anything. I still think of myself as just a guy, right?
Yeah.
Our community is made up of a lot more just guys than us, but. Sometimes it feels almost like it's like when you had your fucking action figures, you know, and you're like, "Oh, cool, He-Man's gonna fight Darth Vader now." I feel like almost that's why people want to see. They're just like, "I like this person, I like this person. I'd love to see them hang out together." But to us as creators, our thought is, "Okay, but what do we do? Like, what do you want us to do?" Videos don't just come from nowhere. Sometimes we do get some resonance, but to put this in perspective, with our collabs with Voice, our big ones, which were on his channel. Those were ideas provided to him by fans that he then pitched to us. And even though we did actually mesh very well with Voice and did a lot of work with him before we did those big collabs, those still took weeks of planning and note-taking and scheduling to get out there and then get edited and posted, right? And that was with somebody who we were able to kind of get in there and work with pretty closely, off and on, about collab stuff. Like, we would talk to him pretty regularly through, like, Twitter or Discord or whatever about the stuff when it came time to, like, asking to be on the show or do collabs.
So I'm getting.
I assume you're gonna get, because you said this last night. You're probably gonna get to a similar point I was about to, which is just that we're looking into it, we're thinking about it. Do not expect it to happen overnight.
Yeah, like here's the thing that got me most spicy, because I'm not gonna lie, I was a little spicy like that. Is people seem to have the impression that we should just do it, and just by doing it, we'll make it happen. And so it's like that's not how it happens.
No, that's not how big projects happen. Like I did say that. Yes, our creative process is usually just like literally this episode started with me off mic going, "Well, we're all here. Is it okay if I turn on the mic?" Like it's like, okay, I turn on the mic, we do the show. But the way that works for us is because Lucky and I have been friends for years before we started talking into started recording us talking into microphones. We usually talk via microphone, funnily enough. And even then, to get what's up to that point, we had to build rapport. Like. We had lists of notes and things we want to talk about, and still occasionally do, but we're in what's up, I don't know, 80-something, I think, now? Like, we've done this for over a year to be to the point where we can just be like, okay, it's time to turn on the microphone and record, right?
Start talking.
Chemistry doesn't come from nowhere, so we need to, like, find people, talk to people, they need to be interested in talking to us and build that chemistry, because the thing is, we want to make better content that you guys want to see. If you guys want to see content with other people in it, we can do that. Who aren't community members, we're doing that more. And I do, in general, I realized to myself, I really need to just record more videos. Like, I'm playing TTS a lot with people and stuff. I just need to record that more. I need to figure that out and record it, because that gives a different opportunity to see us and to see us do community things, kind of like when we stream. And that's better because that lets you see us more in different angles. But to build to a relationship professionally and content-wise, there needs to be a relationship. There needs to be back and forth. We could probably grab a couple of people. Though some people have even left suggestions that I'm like, okay, we don't really know or engage with those people. You know, we already gotten a couple that are like, all right, I've heard of that person. So like I said, I don't want to make it sound like we're not willing to do this, because we are, but we need to do this from a standpoint that's not just kicking down doors and asking people, hey, be on our show, or do you want to be on our show? Like, we have to think about what they get out of it, why they want to, like, do they have a particular topic? And hey, if you are a YouTuber listening right now, not that I think you probably are, but if you are, I just say that because WhatsApp does get a smaller slice of the audience. If you are, though, and you do if you want to come on and talk about a specific event or a specific servant or something when it comes up, let us know. That is perfect. Like, if you definitely have an idea about what you want to talk about, because I'm pretty sure that's how Voice got in. Like, Voice came to us and was like, hey, I really like your show. I wouldn't mind coming on sometime, because we joked about it, I think, on air first, and then he was like, I wouldn't actually mind. I could get on. And I'm like, okay, all right, let us know when you're free and when you want to talk about stuff. And he just kind of started jumping in on episodes that he was like, I would like to talk in a long format about something. And I'm like, okay, we talk about stuff for long times too, also. That is kind of our shtick, talking too much. So
I need me this princess.
No, it's on Twitter.
Alice Global. And then someone posted it, and so character intro, Princess Kaguya, masochism. Pound me as hard as you can. I'm just like, I want her.
And I immediately see that, like, the subtitle for this is Games Rated M.
Yep.
Which is new, isn't this a new gacha thing that's coming out?
Yeah, it's a new gacha game. It's by fucking Yoko Taro.
That's interesting. I do not have time for that, though.
I don't have that time either, but I'm still gonna get in it.
Like, I thought to myself earlier today, for some reason, I'm like, oh yeah, I never did try on Myoji. That's really cool. But I'm like, oh fuck, I don't know if I got time for that, though. Like, I need to do a little bit of work on, I'm mostly ignoring the collab, but there is now a points event in Girls Frontline I should work on, because it's got stuff in it. And also, there's a goddamned do runs event in Azure Lane, but it's a Vichia ship, so I'm like, I want her. I'm like, I want her, but I don't want to do that map 60 times. I hate it. So, I have stuff to think about and do.
Oh, by the way, Shizuka Ito does the voice of Luvia.
Ooh, interesting.
I had to double click it, because I was like, wait, that does sound familiar.
But yeah, so on the collab thing, like, one, obviously, again, our metaphorical door is open. If you listen to us and would want to come in and talk about something, if you have something specific in mind, that's great. That's real good. That's what we need. And like, to put it on the audience, if you do want to see this stuff so bad, you know, give us a leg up. Like, approach those people too and say that you think they'd be a good fit. Make sure that they know us before we go kicking down doors on randos, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the thing. We, as creators and as a community, we don't want to be assholes. This is, like, why we've mentioned a couple of times with, like, Voice, like, hey, don't be an asshole and bug Voice to come back and do, like, Guild 2 or Welfare's 2, okay? Like, I know that he still gets those comments occasionally that he should, like, immediately I saw him he tweeted a while ago about feeling like maybe he wants to come back and do, like, an FGO video. There was at least one reply, which is like, hey, you should go talk to those StudiOmega guys again. I think they mentioned us on Twitter, which is why I saw it, and I'm like, well, you're not wrong. I wouldn't mind if he did, but also, I'm like, I feel like you shouldn't, like, our community are not attack dogs, right? We should not use them to harass or get people to do it, right?
No.
That's not what they're there for. So don't be assholes about anything, but if you genuinely think you found a good match, let them know and let us know, like, who you have in mind. That's why I phrased it this way when I posted in the community tab, like, if you want us to collab, do you have somebody in mind, and what do you imagine us doing with them? Because that's productive. That gets the creative wheels going, and that's a foundation we can start off.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not... Our creative style both is and is not easy, right? Like, on the one hand, a lot of the podcasts are easy because we just take some notes, we start the mics, we go. But we put a lot of front-end work into making this be the way it is, right?
Yeah.
I said that earlier. So, yeah, that's just an interesting note, and we'll probably talk about that a little bit more on Let's Talk. So, like, we definitely hear your feedback, and we hear that you are still giving feedback, and I said this a lot last night. I deeply care and appreciate that you guys care enough to give feedback, to have suggestions. That's really good. Like we have totally gotten this far because of the community, because people care, because people support us, because people have suggestions that are good. You know, it's really nice to get in there. But also sometimes, like Lucky and I said, also it's like we are still humans, we're still individuals, so like we're not always going to be happy with some of the stuff you have to say to us, and that's just life, right? Mm-hmm. You're not happy when we say stuff sometimes. It goes both ways.
Yep.
We're not quite to that, you know, giant corporate level where we need like 5 people between us and you guys. And maybe that day will come and maybe it won't. Whatever. We're just here to do the thing, you know? Like I'd love for this to make me enough disposable income that I don't have to worry about it and then I can do all kinds of other dumb production-y stuff. But if it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm at my lowest level. I'm really just trying to avoid having to get a bag job at Publix. That's my low level goal. I'd like to be able to eat and sleep and not have to do anything else but this. And then from there, I'd love to be able to go and do bigger and better content because I really do love the content. And it was funny too because some of the people got spicy at us about stuff. Like I tried to say, I don't know if we're really posting more videos, and the person who was kind of spearheading this town hall was like, no, you definitely are. And I'm like, okay, I guess we are. Because we talked about perception and perspective a little bit, too, and all that.
Mm.
It really is true, because to me, my perspective is, fuck, we only posted like 2 videos this week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that was true. We posted like 3, technically, but it, let me sort by date again, because I do have our channel page open. It was, so depending on where you count the week, right, it was Let's Talk FGO, What's Up, an AP. I really should post the next AP, but I haven't got around to making that because we've had recording days. And then the new episode of Let's Talk FGO just went up. So that's only like 3 or 4 videos in about a week period. that's not a video every day or whatever, which we've hit at certain points. But no, we also do in general, like we stream more now regularly. We've kind of hit our streaming stride. We post a couple of APs. Those don't really get a lot of views though, so I don't think those are warping the numbers, right? They're not overinflating our view count by going like, oh, a lot of people are tuning into this thing. They're not super impactful. And we kind of bounce back and forth. And sometimes I'm like, I really don't know what the audience will do. Like, hey, guess what? Wanted Achilles, not super popular. Ivan actually did better than him so far. But neither of them were super notable. They're not like, holy shit, the Abigail one or the Kiara one crept up there a lot. Merlin even. I'm sure when I do Wanted Scotty, for instance, that's going to be a big one just because of search engine optimization. But it is interesting to see. I'm kind of hopeful that, I don't know whether or not Okita Alter will go up, because that'll be interesting to see, Because, especially after she just got buffed, which we'll have to talk about in the show. But yeah, so that's kind of the collab thing. Though, the other thing I kind of came to a conclusion about, besides just this chat with the audience about working with other people, and just in general remember to do the community tab, was, everybody got the thought to me that, I don't know. Yes, in this time we are more close with the audience about stuff, but we're only close about certain stuff sometimes, because usually that's like, oh, we'll play games or we'll talk about stuff. But it is kind of productive, so I'm wondering if we should do, like I call it, like a town hall, like every month. Like, just get in voice chat for a little bit on a day and just, like, talk to people about community stuff, how they feel, what they like,
I like that idea.
And
do
just,
it monthly.
Because part of the reason why I was okay with, like, oh, somebody else is going to get some feedback and then talk to us about it was just, like, people don't always just... Well, I said it's important for you to give us your opinion. Some people just don't feel like it. Like, even if we ask them in general, they're like, oh, they didn't ask me specifically. So, prompting them to kind of get together with us and chat seems like a good idea, to kind of get in there. Because even though we do that on streams, that's kind of what streams are about, I don't know if people in the community yet think of our streams like that, right? Yeah. Like, do they think to come into our streams and just hang out with us? Sometimes with Lucky More, I think, depending on the games he's doing. And depending on the games I'm doing, it makes more sense. Because, like, if I'm doing, like, a Jackbox, that's, depending on the game, that has direct or indirect audience interaction. But, like, when I did my Legacy of the Duelist, just fucking let's stream children's card games or whatever, that was definitely, well, obviously that had a lot of nostalgia and a lot of conversation about the stream topic. That was also just a complete, just cruise control, we can talk about stuff stream. When you stream for, like, 9 hours... I assume that people take that as just kind of a, well, let's just cruise and talk kind of thing, because you're going to be here for a while.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I feel like a prompt where we're not doing gameplay could almost be like a better thing. I'm glad we didn't record Flux, Dallas. I'm actually really glad, because that was bad. Lucky you wouldn't know. So we have played Flux before. I had to get a new Flux mod, because my Flux mod disappears. Flux is the card game where you make up the rules as you go along, basically. But I played 8-man Flux with some community guys. We did a vanilla deck, and it got very fucky very fast, because I think about half the people had played the game before, and half of them had not. And just, we got clusterfucked with people playing cards that made new rules or added new rules, and like, at some point, Hand Limit 0 got played, and then nobody would remove it for the longest time, so nobody could keep any cards. We were still on, like, draw 1, play 1 for a while, and just, it got really... really weird and burny and crazy, and I'm just like, no, this was not good. This was too many people, and too fucky. So I'm glad we didn't record it. But,
Anarchy!
I do think I want to start, like I said, figuring out recording and maybe grabbing some of those TTS sessions. And my plan is to call it, to double down on that brand, because you are working on a Filthy Casual typography shirt, is to double down and just call that a Filthy Casual play. Like, this, like, not even this is like us doing a produced Let's Play. This is just, Omega just turned a camera on and saw what happened. And sometimes if they're really shitty, they might not get posted, but they're not going to be super produced, and just record and try and produce some more content and see what sticks. Because that's, much like with the Town Hall, I think that sometimes we need to just, almost like, because the podcasts are directed, right? In a sense. We joke that they're not directed, but they are, in a sense, focused. We'll talk about specific topics for a little bit, and sometimes we get off, and sometimes we get on, But I think it's better to just see. Yeah, also that was another. Dallas brought that up. There are two separate cards to play randomly, and we were only playing 2 cards, so it became first and last play was random. So there was a time when you literally had no control over which card you played. That was really fucky. But I think it might be good to have people see us in even more context, right? Because even in WhatsApp, people still only hear us in the context of like, oh, what do we do this week? I watched some anime, I played some games, watched some TV. Here's some life advice. Okay. I think that's everything with the community stuff. Lucky, you want to talk a lot about stuff. Please talk a lot. I'm going to drink some water.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. The thing that I took out of that conversation is apparently people are still scared of me. And I'm like, okay. So, I don't know, because in case you guys haven't noticed, I've actually taken a back step in our Discord. Like, I literally have the entire channel muted. And if I'm talking, it's because, like, I decided to randomly go see what people are up to and make a note. Like, I don't actually follow conversations anymore. And yet, despite all that, apparently I still am this thing to be feared, I guess. Apparently I don't let people have their own opinions and whatnot. So I'm at a little bit of a loss of what to do, personally. I'm not gonna lie. It's like, do I just completely stop talking to everyone and just become the fucking rabbit that was? It's like I don't know what people want from me. I think people just literally want me to stand around and let them scream their opinions at me and have me take it. Which
and I could see that because relationships with the audience can be weird. Like I talk about this within the comments. Like people feel the desire to actually us or actually me in specific or ask me questions because I guess I'm the exposition guy. Because usually I'm a little more put together and focused on getting the stuff together, like the intellectual stuff. Like Lucky is not an idiot. I'll say that. Lucky's not dumb. But Lucky definitely does a lot more. You definitely do a lot more happy-go-lucky flow to stuff. Like, just, I have an idea, I'll work on it, okay, that's done, whatever. I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention to that conversation, I was looking at boobs on Twitter. Lucky's that guy. So people definitely get the idea that I'm the one to go through the things, and then if they need to challenge my correctness because they want to feel more correct or whatever, not to armchair psychologize a shitload of people, I know, obviously, we don't want to paint with too broad a brush, that's bad, but I do kind of feel like that happens sometimes where people are like, oh my god, Omega was wrong about something, I have to call him out on it immediately. And I'm like, okay, thanks guys, you don't actually have to. You could just acknowledge that they're like I've definitely tried in my conversations on Discord now to be more like, to try to not be like direct or condescending or negative about it, but just be like, if somebody says something that I'm like, I don't think that's right, and I'm like, I don't think that's correct factually, just like, I'm not sure that's, to let them know gently that I think that they're wrong and here's why, but if we just want to get into it, and I've talked about before how, like, sometimes people just don't want to change, like why Omega doesn't like what-if conversations, because usually people want to just keep going, but what if Omega? And I'm like, I don't care then. Like, you will not change from your thought on this. This is clearly something this is an idea you have that you can work out by yourself, and maybe some people can't. That might be an assumption on my part, right? Like, some people might not be able to work out their own ideas like that. That is my nature, to develop ideas and thoughts on my own and work on them in that sense, and then show them to people. Or to develop an idea or a product or a project because that's how I learned in school or whatever. Maybe some people don't have that mindset, but in that case, I'm a good springboard, but I'm not a good springboard, right? Like, because Omega, I think you said this best about people giving us feedback. You said you'd take it seriously, and I kind of concur, right, Lucky?
Yeah.
They're like, if you use me to springboard off your ideas, I'm going to take a good look at your ideas and tell you what I think of them. I'm not just going to sit there and nod while you develop your thought, right? At least not all the time. Oh, no, actually didn't, though. I do want to mention that to you, maybe in private, but about the thing, like, that's, for past-looking stuff, Omega doesn't remember anything. Omega doesn't know what he had for lunch this week. Like, that's stuff that happened. I would have told you at the time. I don't remember. I remember vague details, but in future, if you want that kind of specific advice, we can do that.
Also, Axe, I'm going to take this opportunity to mention what you said. Because Axe, our good patron and player, mentions, like, this may be totally wrong, but you kind of respond to most things with anger or intense sadness. And
Lucky is emotionally intense in general. That's true.
Yeah, that is true. But I also want to point out the fact that usually when I have responses like that is not the first step. That has been a build-up over time. Because, like I said, my patience is not infinite. My willpower is not infinite. It really is not. And if I try to play nice in the beginning and I am ignored or brushed over, eventually I'm just going to get to the point where I burst. If I have, like, stated rules over and over again and they just keep getting ignored at some time, I'm just going to start yelling. Like, I am only human, and I have my own opinions, I have my own thoughts, and I'm not going just to sit around and let people walk all walk all over me. It's like I just like
yeah, and everybody's different. Like Dallas, one of our moderators, who we actually have had this conversation. Like Dallas has actually had this experience in short since he became a mod. I have heard him say explicitly to people a couple of times, multiple people. I've just like, oh, people don't want to like go against you or whatever because you're a mod. It's like, and he's like, but I don't have any power in this conversation. He has said that to multiple people a few times, and so it's kind of the same thing, right? Where it's just like people have perceptions about social hierarchy or whatever. And I get that. Some people have responses and stuff. And when Lucky or when Omega even, I have a temper when I get going. I'm a lot better about it than I was when I was like a kid or something. But if I get real frustrated and there's no good way to get it out, I can get a little fucky. But I'm like, generally I try to keep it in control just because I've realized, like I think I said this earlier. I've realized in life in a different conversation, to me there's no value in just getting mad about something or just getting upset or sad. That's all I do is feel shitty. So when I get pissed off, it's usually a very heat of the moment thing, and like sometimes it can come out a little hard, and I'll come at you. And if I'm like too rude or short with you or whatever, and you don't like it, I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, I made you feel bad, but that was I also felt I felt bad in that moment. I'll say it that way because I don't think that being really angry about stuff is a positive emotion. So I'm like, well, yeah, I'm sorry I made you feel bad. I was feeling bad in that moment. I was pissed off and I was yelling about something. It's not like some, it's not some deep personal cut. Like Omega just doesn't talk to people he doesn't like anymore. Like I just don't interact with those people and don't acknowledge them. Like my response if I fucking hate your guts is not to go out of my way to remind you, hey, I fucking hate you, go die. It's to just be like, oh, there's that guy. I don't want to interact with this person at all.
Yeah,
and I suppose if I really, really, truly hated somebody, it might be like, I might think like, I'd go pistols at dawn with this person, but that's not usually feasible, and that's pretty intense. So usually it's just like, no, I just don't want to deal with you. Like, go ahead.
So that's the thing. Like again, and I don't know where people are getting these things because, like I said, last time we had one of these things, people were talking about like how I was kind of intimidating stuff, and I took that shit to heart. I was like, all right, no more tyranny. It'll just be something that is thrown out there for laughs. Nothing actually ends. Like so.
Yes, tyranny is definitely back to being a joke, and not even a joke that you perpetuate anymore. Other than occasionally you make like the new tyranny emote and the funnies. Like that's just a thing people still remember. Oh no, that was us joking. But also, I think I threatened to shoot literally everyone in the Flux except Vesper because me and Vesper were I think we had both played Flux before, and we were the both ones going, this is not very cash money right now.
Mm-hmm.
This is just so we're just gonna, Dallas makes a play that doesn't like do anything to unfuck the rules when he could have, and we're just like, so we're gonna go murder Dallas in a dark alley and then come back and finish this. But no, that was definitely part of the mood of that game. And that's a very spur of the moment thing though, right? Like, I don't feel like shooting you right now, Dallas. I'm not making a threat on your life. But when I'm in the moment, I'm definitely like, no, if I could punch you right now, I might. But sorry, we got interrupted by the chat. Lucky, continue. If you want to.
Like, people like still find me scary and like say they can't have an opinion. I'm like, and I feel like people are just trying to bring up old things that happened maybe a long time ago, and I'm just like, why are you doing that? I am literally like barely talking this chat anymore. Why are you still feeling this way?
It is true that some people seems to stick with people longer. Like,
yeah,
I've already talked about this. Like, I do understand that people remember negative feedback more than positive, but. Mm-hmm. Well, it could be, I guess. It could be the data was old. That's too. We didn't actually. I don't think we actually double checked that. We probably should have. Thinking about it, but
as I said, like I'm not gonna lie. I was completely sus about this from the beginning, and I was partly wrong, but I was also partly vindicated in what I felt.
No, you were. You definitely. I was the people who was like, it's just feedback, and then it was like, no, hold on. Somebody's asking you to look at numbers. This is a little more serious than I was planning for it. That's because, and I'll, if we do town hall meetings, that would be a reason to avoid that. It would just be like, no, this is definitely an open call that we're like predicating on the fact that we're planning this to just be an open general chat with people.
Yeah.
Because we do want to avoid a hit job. Like, we really don't want to be... It's true, people are intimidated by loud voices. But I don't want people to just drive by us, That's, again, still humans. We still have thoughts and feelings. We're not immune to those just because thousands of people listen to us. That's just, honestly, just more freaky to our daily lives.
Ooh, excuse me. Yeah.
So yeah.
So I definitely want people to come forth and tell me like what like because here's the thing like people want to keep their I can't think of the word anonymity. Thank you.
Yes.
And stuff, but when they start thinking it's like, oh, you did this or that, it's like, yeah, but I did that for this and that reason, but I'm not telling this to the person, I'm telling this to their proxy, so I don't think I'm actually making any progress on addressing the situation, because, like, there's always, like, there's something that, like, I try to impress upon everyone, is there's always two sides to a situation, two sides to, like, whatever argument and whatever, and if only one person is working on resolving it, it's not going to get resolved because one person is just going to maintain that mindset. And that's how I feel right here. Like honestly, I'm not against people like bringing feedback and stuff to me, but it has to be done in a way that makes sure it gets data from everybody. Like when this person did it, like they didn't like talk to us about like our ideas, thoughts, and reasons. They just went and gathered a bunch of info from a bunch of people who wished to remain silent and then threw it at us and said, do something about it. I'm just like, wait.
Yeah, and I do think that some of that was to prompt a discussion about how we, like, collect people's thoughts so it's not just a little, because that is the thing, right? We talked about this with the collab. I've definitely heard 5 people say it, probably. And, well, obviously, again, we are lone individuals. 5 opinions is a number of opinions, but also, if we look at the macro scale, we get over 1,000 views, sometimes over 2,000 views, have over 2,000 subs. 5 people's not a lot. So that's why, like you said, feedback is good. We have to just source it correctly and look at the numbers, right? Like we have to, they wanted us to look at numbers. I'm like, well, then we have to, if we're looking at numbers, we got to look at numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we're going to do our math brain on this, we got to go whole math brain. So it's just an interesting thing, which is why I do agree to bring up the topic, because it's like, let's try and find out how everybody feels, or as close to everybody as we can get.
Like, totally. Like, walking away from that, I definitely want to have more open forums so people can have a louder voice and maybe more a direct voice.
Yeah, because it's just, we care about your feedback. Like I said earlier, we wouldn't be here without you. We love your feedback. Sometimes you don't, even if we yell at you specific questions, sometimes you don't give feedback. But, okay, that's fine. If you don't want to give feedback, you don't have to.
Yeah.
Just remember the war is won by those who show up rule, though. It's like voting.
Like that's it. If you don't want to give feedback, that's fine, but don't expect that the changes you want to happen magically.
Yeah. So, and that's why it is important to acknowledge that some people have this opinion. And no, we really didn't in the gosh, damn, 5 or so months since that conversation, 4 or 5. We did not really go anywhere on that front. We went other places on other fronts, right? But we will acknowledge we didn't really do anything about that opinion. And so we look at it again. It's like, okay, if people are like, well, you didn't really go anywhere with our feedback, I'm like, nope, you're not wrong. But yeah, no, I think that's a feeling, because it is weird, because I feel like a lot of we did do this openly, because I asked you, do you want to just bust in there and do this in the open? And you were like, yeah. So I think I was something to the effect of fuck yeah. Yeah, so we just got in there, and that, I think, definitely changed the tone of the conversation. That probably would have been a worse conversation if it was just us privately, because we probably would have felt like we could get a little bit more salty about stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Which was not necessarily the direction I would want to go, right? Like I said this several times, I'm like, I want to make sure we're not shooting the messenger here. You're just saying what people said. Well, we get why like you said, that can be a weird two-way street, that some of our feedback might not go through him to somebody else, but we also don't want to shoot the messenger because that's dumb.
Yep.
But there were definitely some people who were listening to this in context and were like, yeah, I don't know. I don't have any of these problems or thoughts. And some of those people also did have different conclusions or thoughts about, like, we got some good feedback from other people who were not directly asking those questions or opinions, who were like, oh, well, now that I've heard you say that, we definitely want to think about this and, get that feedback. And also made sure to ask. I'm really glad that some people in the audience made sure to ask the questions. Like, I think it would be good. We can probably be okay with name dropping Loth, because he's in the APs and stuff. He's a longtime patron and a regular part of the StudiOmega players now. But he specifically said, when talking about like channel growth, because we have been slower but steadier over time. But we get a decent chunk of stuff done. Overall, like YouTube is currently reporting. I think we had a little bit of a slump at the end of the year, but after that, and also I was busy with personal stuff at the end of the year too, But after that, we've kind of been on the rise. And I'm not gonna lie and say that I don't think COVID has helped with that because people are more home, and consuming more content. But just in general, there's also been just more stuff to do. But no, like Loth said that like the question is, are you guys care about your followers or whatever as a kind of number, or is this about the content? And we were like, no, it's about the content, because he was talking about from like personal standpoints. He said that he was in what he seemed to say was a rough time in his life where he like cared about like how many Tumblr followers and stuff he had, you know. And there are people who are like that who really care what their social media numbers are. I want our social media numbers to be better, but that's because I want to reach more people, you know? Like, I want more people to see us talk about stuff and to get in the content.
The way I think I said it is, like, I don't really care about making, like, huge numbers as long as we have steady growth.
Right, and as long as the people, like, we don't bamboozle people and we don't miscarry them. Like, because I do want to probably maybe do some videos in the future. I don't want to sound like I'm like really putting voice on blast, but when he transitioned his brand, basically, there are probably a lot of people in his community who felt betrayed or down because he stopped doing the videos that they started to get in from him, you know, like, and that's risky with your audience. But he did that because that was the content he wanted to make. So he stayed with a core audience, and presumably they're pretty in there, even though it's been a while since he put out a video, but I don't know what his work schedule is like with the whole pandemic thing. But you know, he kept a core audience, I'm sure, who liked what he was doing just in general, and not just the passing audience about doing FGO stuff. So like I said, I want to be careful that we don't try to bamboozle an audience, right? We don't try to lie to an audience that we're about one thing and then our content turns to be about something else. Mm-hmm. Because that just alienates people and makes them, you know, be shitty on Twitter or whatever. Now that people aren't already alienated and shitty to us on social media occasionally, but for the most part, I think we just let that stuff kind of roll off, so.
I like, well, I don't know about you, May, but I like to have the mentality, it's like, if you don't like us, you don't have to be here.
No, that's how, because we were talking about it earlier with, like, the kind of, like, the fundamental opinions. I agree with you on that, where, like, at a certain point of the day, if we're not open to discussion where neither of us is going to change, like, and I'll say this, it's true, there are some things that I either are, like, this is my understanding of the facts that are objective, or just my own subjective opinions that aren't likely to change just because I talked to some rando in the community. I'll acknowledge that my thoughts and feelings aren't going to change on big stuff. And sometimes you're not willing to change your opinion, audience. You know, you feel how you feel, and you don't have to change your opinions. But if we're in a conversation where one of us isn't going to change or grow from it, there's no point in having it. And I'm just like, okay, then we just need to stop. Like, that is 100% a thing I've gotten over in life. For the most part, is that I don't want to be in a pointless conversation. I'm too busy for that shit.
Mm-hmm.
So we tend to avoid them or duck out of them, and maybe that seems rude or standoffish, but it's just like we have nowhere to go. And ultimately, if that difference of opinion persists, the only place it can resolve is just we get out of each other's lives. But if you're in our Discord or following our YouTube channel, for us to get out, that's really weird. Like, just practically, like, we can't not be in our own Discord, other than the fact that the extent that Lucky is not in our Discord, but you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. Like, if both of us were like that, shit would probably be a little weird and directionless.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they'd carry off conversations, but it would get weird without some feedback from us, or the ability to give feedback and talk to us, right? It would be, the community style would be different, so, we can't really leave our own channel. That's not how it works.
Nope.
So, if you can't come to an understanding for us, it's okay if you don't like us anymore. You can leave. That's not me telling you to fuck off. That's like, I do that all the time. There's people I don't follow anymore because I don't like the medium, or I don't like the content anymore, or I stop caring. And there's people I only check out certain videos on. So it's okay to not... I appreciate if you watch every little thing we do, but God, you are not required to. Fuck, I don't have time for that. We talked about this in the basically the town hall we had. We only have a couple of, like, free days a week some of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if you hear clacking in the background, I have my multi-tool and I'm playing with it because it folds and unfolds. I'm sorry.
Look,
I should literally get my fidget spinner for this, but it's in a drawer.
Look, he has a knife.
Oh, my multi-tool has a knife in it. And it's got other knives. It's got the pliers. The whole foldy-clicky thing. Anyway. That's us right here. Lucky and I are literally distracted by the equivalent of shiny keys.
Well, it also helps me from losing my fucking head.
It's true. I am also like I said, I'm pretty sure I don't have, like, an ADD or something, but I definitely have, like, my brain is multi-channel. you know?
Lucky totally has the ADD.
Well, yeah, you definitely said that. I'm pretty sure I don't, because I took some tests for that when I was younger, but I don't know. I haven't actually been anywhere to do anything. I could have a generalized anxiety disorder. I do have anxiety about stuff. Well, I don't know if I want to say I have a disorder either, because the functional definition of a disorder is that it dramatically impacts my daily life. None of what Omega has going on does that. He is very functional, if whatever his problems are. And I definitely have problems, but I am functional. Thank you very much. That's a big number. But like I said, multitasking, I like to, if I'm doing something with my hands, I usually like to have something to listen to or talk to, because the talky part of my brain has nothing to do with the handsy part. And sometimes when I'm talking or I'm listening, I like to have something to do with my hands, because like I said, the talky listeny part of my brain, the righty part, has nothing to do with my handsy part. I think the only time those two come together is maybe when I'm writing. And even then, I usually blend music with that, you know?
Dallas, you're saying I am a disorder? Yes, you bring disorder to many, many things, you fucker.
Dallas does like chaos. Sometimes we have to stop him. We have to be like, no, Dallas. No, that's a bad idea. But it would be so fun. No. I know it'd be fun for a little bit. That is definitely, hanging out with the community, doing Jackbox, doing TTS, doing stuff together. Even when Lucky, you and me would, pile in and do Terraria. Also, when does the Terraria update come out, BT Dubs?
Actually, let me check on that. I'm curious.
That's soon. But that's definitely the kind of thing where we realize limits to stuff and people, right? Where it's like playing TTS has really taught me to understand the social group thing, which is oh no, we should not play more than 3 games of this in a row, because people are going to get spicy about stuff. And then we should stop.
Oh shit.
What's up?
Apparently it's supposed to be May 16th.
Oh, no, that's real close.
That's real close. Hang on, let me...
Well, the thing I'm most sus about with you is that when you're accusing people of being fascists when we play Secret Hitler, which I definitely have to do on the channel sometime with somebody. I don't know. So, Lucky, do you know about Secret Hitler?
I know about it. Because I heard you guys... it's still saying May 16th.
Okay,
oh shit, there might have to be a fucking Terraria stream.
There'll be some Terraria, something.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a game I played it a couple times, I've seen them play it a couple times. Basically, you have however many players, I think 6 or 8 is the usual, or whatever. But it's set in the pre-Nazi Germany. But there are versions like Secret Dio and Secret Palpatine, which might be more SEO friendly. Because like I said, I think I mentioned this another time, I'm pretty sure we can't literally title a video on YouTube Secret Hitler. The algorithm will probably not like that, even if a person is oh, it's just a game. But the point is that ostensibly all of you are liberals, but secretly 2 of you, or more sometimes, are fascist, and 1 of you is Hitler. The liberals' goal of the game is to pass 6 liberal policies, I believe it's 6, and then you win. You have achieved the liberal utopia, everything is fine and democratic. 5, okay, it's 5. The fascists have to pass 6. So the fascist goal are to either pass 6 fascist policies, or get Hitler elected chancellor after passing 3. Now, Hitler doesn't know who his fellow fascists are, but the fascists know who Hitler is. And as you go through the game, Axe is talking about it now, the number of liberal policies in the deck you get dealt, because you randomly get dealt a deck, go down. So it's a deduction game, but it's very active, because as things get worse, you'll unlock powers like the current president can investigate somebody's party affiliation. They can choose who gets to be the next president rather than, rotating it around. Eventually, the last couple of fascist policies, the president gets a fucking gun and can just kill somebody. Just put that player out of the game. So it's really guessworky to kind of calculate, okay, who are the fascists, who's Hitler, they gotta play it subtle. When I played 2 games. One time I was in fact literally Hitler. And I won that game, because I played it cool and I was not suspicious until the very end, and I got elected. When it mattered. And the second game I played liberal, and we just steamrolled the fascists, because I think they lost track of what they were doing and just got bamboozled. But it's a fun game, but it can also be a little intense, because you start to get, much like in real life, you start to get sus of people in their politics, and they're like, are you a fascist? Are you Hitler? Are you Hitler? No. Can I trust you? And sometimes you literally have to trust them, because you literally ask them the question, hey, are you Hitler? Ooh, that is a good concert view that's just been posted on Twitter.
Yeah. Excuse me while I go kick down the Twitter door.
Gotta retweet and save that one.
That's a maid.
That's us right there. Shiny keys. But yeah, so, that is probably something.
Oh my god, I am retweeting that, because that is amazing.
that's definitely something I will probably, like I said, in my new idea for filthy catch plays, I will definitely capture some of those, and we'll work on production value and stuff. That's pretty cool. Whereas Vesper is always a fascist. Vesper likes to joke. Vesper also gets jokier on streams. She said that like the whole "I'm an alien" thing comes out when we're on stream. That is the thing to remember with us too, is we try to be authentic, but also we are still a little exaggerated for the show.
Mm-hmm.
I think us on What's Up is probably us at our most honest.
Probably.
But definitely, like, either because we're playing a game or just because it's part of the show, we can act up a little bit on streams. We spice ourselves up a little bit for Let's Talk FGO.
Spice. I'm Pumpkin Spice.
That has got to have been a Let's Talk FGO intro at some point, you being Pumpkin Spice.
Maybe.
That sounds right. If not, well, no. Oniland is this year, so it won't be pumpkin themed. We're going to be different cures, buddy.
Can I be Pumpkin Cure?
You can be Pumpkin Cure. You can also be Spice Cure. I'll have to think about that joke. I've got months and months to prep. Or I'll just pull it out of my butt at the last minute, like us deciding to be Godzilla monsters. And then that turned into a funny joke where I was like, but we're not Mecha King like Ghidorah. That's later. But Yidge. So the clock is at almost 2.5 hours. 2 hours, 24 minutes. I think you have one more big thing you want to talk about. We should probably let you get in there because you might talk about this for a while.
It's probably not going to be a long time.
Okay,
we're still in the beginning stages of it. So back, it's still there in the books.
Yeah, because
so
it was a weird conversation that started in books.
Yeah. So someone posted an image about classic self-help books, and one of them was Monster Musume. And there's a small conversation, and I said, I always feel better after partaking in Monster Girls, to which someone responded, I read that and parking in Monster Girls, and I was like, what the fuck?
And then Omega was in there, like, swimwear, and was like, that's a Monopoly space. Free parking, Monster Girl parking.
Yep, so people followed up, Monster Girl Monopoly is a multiplayer Harem board game, and someone was all like, you have my curiosity, but now you have my attention. I was just like, collecting Monster Girls. I'm down, let's make it. And I've actually been writing up a bunch of details on a Monster Girl collecting board game. So, right now it's just the MGC proposal, Monster Girl Collector. So basically, the overall idea is this. You're a human summoned to a new world to save it from the looming threat that is the Demon King. You basically get to prepare yourself for the city and travel through many realms to reach the Demon King's fortress, overcoming trials at every step. But the catch is, you won't be able to do it alone, and you must gather strength from the world's greatest asset, Monster Girls. Now, the problem with this is Monster Girls are fickle creatures and won't fight for you for any reason, so you must win their affection and create a bond that will see you through any trouble. That's the high-level pitch.
Yeah.
Now, the objective is to travel from the city through the world and romance Monster Girls to take on the Demon King. Now, and there's... I said, all the details haven't been hashed out here. But basically, the win condition of the game is beat the Demon King. Now, the Demon King is kind of going to be a raid boss, because the way I'm envisioning this is a competitive co-op game.
Right. Ultimately, all of our goals is to beat the Demon King, but
yes,
I assume it's going to be kind of like, it ultimately will kind of be like what Ku says, which is like, there is no second place.
Yeah. Whoever beats, the Demon King is basically going to be a raid boss. Basically, every time you reach the Demon King, you make your attack on the Demon King, you whittle down some of its health, or you try to win it over, because seducing the Demon King is totally going to be a fucking high-level play you can do. I'm just saying that right now. I have decided this. But, as I said, defeating the Demon King or wooing the Demon King is not going to be easy. It's going to take several iterations to do. At which point, players will either help each other try and accomplish this, or fuck each other trying to accomplish this. It's going to be completely dependent on the players. Because we started saying this was Monster Girl Monopoly, but I was all like, no, Lucky likes his games a little complex. That's why I like games like fucking Arkham Horror, Battlestar Galactica, and stuff like that. But I was like, I want complex games, but I don't want fucking bloats, because Arkham Horror is a real bloated game. Jesus fucking Christ.
Why they've, I think, literally made several versions which are faster to run.
Yeah. So basically this is how the game is set up. So everyone starts in it's going to be a modular system. you're going to have a center tile of a hexagon. No, not hexagon, octagon, which is the city.
8 sides.
The what?
I said, ooh, 8 sides.
Yep. Of an octagon called the city. And in the city, you have the item shop, the inn, the brothel, and the guild.
You may have to find a different thing to call one of those things. We'll see.
Maybe.
We'll workshop it.
See. We'll workshop it.
We'll see what's allowed on Kickstarter.
Yeah. Now, and each of these were deals with some of your particular stats. So everyone has a card. They're gonna have a nice little player card, and you have several stats. You're going to have your gear, which is going to be just like 2 things. You're going to have your weapon and your armor. You're going to have your health, which, as I said, you're going to be dealing with. Then you're going to have 2 other interesting stats. You're going to have your attractiveness level and your denseness level. So I am definitely going to be heavily leaning forward on anime cliches with fucking harem protagonists and denseness. So attractiveness is pretty straightforward. The higher it is, the easier it is for you to attract monster girls and their encounters, and to attract, higher rarity and higher difficulty ones. Denseness, though, is a slider. Right now, I'm thinking of it from 1 to 5. Higher denseness means that you can hold more cards in your hand. Because how the game is going to work is, from when you leave the city, you're going to go to a field. Every time you go to a field, you draw a card, and on that card is an event. The event might be a monster girl encounter, it might be a field encounter, it might be a hazard encounter. Like I said, these are all provision names, and I'm just, big brain concept. And depending on the card, you might take it to your hand. Monster girls, when you first get them, are taken to your hand as well. You don't, just defeat them in combat, and it's like, alright, this is now my next harem member. No, you have to actually spend some time with them. Now, monster girls, once they're in their hand, they will have an ability. Usually maybe to help you out in combat, or maybe help you traverse a obstacle of some kind. If you use said monster girl in such way, that girl is then discarded. But if you can get your denseness level down low enough to romance the monster girl, you can then add her to your permanent harem, and then keep her, and basically be able to use her abilities. I'm probably saying like once per, Demon King run, I should say. It's something that refreshes. You don't have to draw one. Because here's the thing. As you go through the fields, like I said, you'll be like doing encounters and whatnot, and if you decide, alright, this might be a little too hard to me, at any point through moving through the fields, you can return to the city. But if you return to the city, you have to start over from the beginning.
And presumably, if you fight the Demon King and you get your butt kicked, you go back to the city.
Well, and that's what I mean by denseness. You need a high denseness. Having a high dense level means you can hold more cards in your hand, therefore hold more monster girls. But
the more dense you are, the less that ladies think that you're... If I understand the analogy correctly, basically, the more dense you are, the less the ladies think that you're actually blowing them off or actually not interested in them. They just think that you're a fucking idiot and you don't get it yet. So you can have more people trying to court you, but while you're still being dense, it's hard to lock that down and be like, no, we're actually working on something here.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of play that balancing game to keep your levels at different tasks.
Yep. So in order to, commit them to your harem, you have to get your denseness level lower. And there's going to be a couple ways to do that through event.
And they're probably, ultimately through playtesting, we'll figure out a good balance. Like, there will be some girls and archetypes which are very serious, and you got to get really low, probably. Mm-hmm. And there might be some, I don't know, almost like comps or starters where it's like, oh, you can be as dense as you like and still get this person in. Every harem has a couple of those. But for balance purposes, they probably aren't going to be very strong.
Nope. Because basically, here's the thing. Once you get to the Demon King, you can only fight using your harem member. Because you're going up against the fucking Demon King. Half-hearted bonds aren't going to cut it. So the way I want the game is quick turns, long play. Basically, you take your turn, you flip your card, you see what happens, you act upon it, next player. And just going. Now, now here's the thing. Actually, saying like harem characters, I'm debating on making because I got the idea from like Red Dragon Inn of making different hero templates. And
depending on what stats you have, or at the very least, you should have different relationships of like starting attractiveness to denseness, right?
Yeah, of like different players.
Like, and, maybe you can play the very nerdy, meek, whatever guy who's like, he's not very dense, but also he's not very personable or attractive. Because obviously your charisma or whatever is not necessarily just how pretty you look, but also how good you are with people.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a dork who can't talk to girls, period, like, you perfectly understand intimate relationships, you just can't do it. That's different than being some incredibly being Buckarina, basically, being an incredibly personable dork who doesn't understand what's happening.
Yeah. And on the same prints, I'm thinking there should probably be different Demon King types for
that would definitely
variety.
be a better like way to keep the game up is like have a little deck of like Demon King cards, you know, and just okay, we're starting. Flip it over. Here's the Demon King.
Yeah, so you could have the Motherly Demon King, out of danger, beware the Dote attack. The Lolly Demon King, no matter which way you win, people are going to look at you funny and whisper behind your back. Because that's the other thing is like, I want a lot of humor on this. So like,
oh no, I think the game's going to be very self-aware.
Yeah,
that's a good one. Actually, the Christmas Cake Demon King. She's just here for marriage. The Amazon Demon King. She actually gets affection by just punching her. Ah, you are strong. Cool. We will make strong babies. Well, actually, you know, I've got a thing going on. No. Snoo. Shit. Escape rope.
So, honestly, I think this could actually, I actually really like this concept, and I think it'd actually be a really fun game.
No, and I think it's not, I mean, I'll say, I know a little bit of the game making industry. You, or we collectively, if this does kind of become an us brand project, that we will definitely get some cheap shots taken at us by people, because, oh my god, you collect women? I'm like, yeah, but you're trying to build real relationship. Like your elevator pitch right now is not about being scummy.
No.
Though I'm sure being a scummy hero will be an option. Like, there's probably at least one character who will play that style, which is just, you know, use them and lose them kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's called being an asshole, kids. Though there are also those protagonists, right? Well, obviously there's got to be ladies in it. I mean, just because that's also that's a genre thing. You can do Yuri Tales. I joked earlier that, like, Monster Boy sounds like an expansion. Like, that's...
Well, like, here's the thing.
Because the one thing I was going to say is that for this kind of project, you have to be aware of scope creep. Like, even if it's alt arts, that's a whole fucking thing to do, right? Is to, like, make an alternate art of every single card that's also a dude, right? Like, so that's, like, whether it's alt arts or they do different things, that's definitely, like, an expansive project. Like, that's either a stretch goal on Kickstarter or something or whatever to do, like, bonus stuff.
Well, like, here's the thing. Like, the reason why the city is a hexagon is you set up the fields around it. The fields are supposed to be modular, so basically every hex space is you set up a field and you set the deck upon it, and then you move between it. And starting off, we'll probably have, like, the Demon King will always be number 8, but, heck, what was I saying? But, like, we'll start off, like, maybe you want to have you can, like, all the areas will have, their difficulty ratings, but maybe you want to shake it up, and maybe, who knows, you want the fucking, you know, Volcano Raging to be fucking first. You know, you're not, like, all the monster girls are totally gonna kick your ass, but you might get lucky and find a sweet treasure, like, real early.
You know, go crazy, flip the hexes over and deal them out, the octs.
Yeah. And as I said, that gives potential for, like, you know, actual, like, expansion packs of, alright, so now we're gonna have the Eastern Island Nation pack where we have fucking just yokai monster girls and...
Well, actually, I don't know. I know you said Octagon. I don't know if that actually fits together in a grid pattern.
Well, not a grid pattern. It's gonna be, not the grid, it's gonna be like a wedge. That's what it is.
Okay, alright. I see what you're going for. Alright.
Yeah. So, like, the game board as a whole will be a giant octagon. And expansions of, well, now we have the Eastern Island Nation, you have yokai, we have the Deep Sea Field, where we have the Kraken, Cilia, and Carberus, and, you know, other things like that. And and of course, we could always come up with additional, like Demon King, types, player character types, gear
Big
pack.
Oni Demon King.
Big Oni Demon King.
Cthulhu Demon King. Because we can totally, in fact, do that because all that shit is public domain.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a very, very cheap branding trick.
Well, I said, like...
literally, Monster Girl Encyclopedia has, like, Shoggoth Halaknaka and all that shit, so, like, yeah.
Like I said, and again, like, you mentioned, like, Yandere Demon King. No, there's just gonna be deeming they're just gonna be monster girls that have tags like fucking tsundere, yandere, and it's gonna affect.
Yeah, it will probably be more safe for work than Monster Girl Encyclopedia, but I'm feeling it's definitely in that vein where it's like, okay, like, ooh, I'm in the mountains. I run into a harpy demon girl. She's like possessive and materialistic because she's distracted by shiny things, but also a great singer. And I'm sure Lucky will not be flying this solo, and he's gonna be like, hey, Omega, myth stuff, and I'll be like, damn it, he's got me. I can't not talk about myths.
Well, like I said, because all the girls are gonna have flavor text, and they're gonna have their own little unique abilities, there'll probably be sirens, there'll be harpies, Loreleis, all the crazy stuff like that.
Definitely definitely everything that's a classic European fantasy, because that'll be the start point.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be a mix of, well, not quite D&D monsters, because D&D actually owns some copyrights on those. So, but classical Greek and other folklores, goblins, aka
Are you ready for big titty centaur girls? I am. Because like I said, this is definitely going to be sake for worse but it's like I am definitely going to be embracing the risque, because that's kind of what monster girls are to me. That's all like.
Well, and also I think that similar to the game we talked about before, Red Flag, which is about dating, where it's like you have to weigh the positives and the negatives. Physical appearance is part of people's relationship building, so you have to consider, gosh, I really like Big Titty Centaur Girl, but, I don't know, we just making something up on the spot, it would be like, but man, she's really, chivalrous and stuff, that really cramps my style of I'm a rogue and I want to stab the Demon King in the back, That's food and Ariax. That's too explicit.
Yeah, we can't do that.
We're not Red Dead Redemption 2, there will be no horse testicles.
Like I said,
honestly, we do. That is a subject we want to be careful about. That is not something we should joke about as a negative. Like, oh, she has a penis. That could be interpreted in a sensitive way.
I mean, Lucky's never made it a secret of his likes and dislikes, but at the same time, I can't just throw that out to the general public and be like, "Do you like this?"
Yeah, I mean, we could. Much like how we said we probably have female protagonists, you could work with the quote-unquote trap genre and be like, oh, well, you think this is a cute female demon, but actually, no, it's definitely a boy, because that's how incubuses work. But do you care? Do you actually care? And you can play with tropes. It doesn't have to be, heteronormative.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like I said, I do think we should be somewhat sensitive and be like, let's not turn people's real life into a joke.
Yeah.
Because that's always the thing. Make jokes or make allegory in a fictional context. There should be some element of impossibility. You want to be applicable, but also not this is literally an allegory for our society.
Mm-hmm. Listen, man, I just want to hang out with people, collect monster girls, and maybe seduce the Demon King. That's literally my high level gameplay loop, for my primary gameplay loop is.
Yeah, you want to flip tiles, you want to move the deck, you want to get stuff. You want to move on, and you want to hit the Demon King reset.
Mm-hmm.
Or a World War I allegory, or another allegory. Dallas is talking about Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings has a story that has high applicability. A lot of people think it's about stuff, or feel like it's about stuff. But J.R. Tolkien was really non-committal. He was just like, well, if that's what you think it's about, then that's what it's about to you.
People are gonna, if people ask me, is this game supposed to be an allegory for something? I'm gonna be like, yeah, it's an allegory for me loving fucking monster girls. End of story. Mic drop.
No, and that's definitely the way I think it should be. It should be presented, and we should make no bones. No, this is because we're used to these stories, and they can be funny, but some of them are also kind of. I think the ultimate point you said about the gameplay loop is this story has an arc. It's going places. You have a reason for doing stuff. It's not supposed to get bogged down in just wooing monster girls, because you'll eventually lose if you do nothing but collect, right?
Right.
Somebody else will just get in there and be like, hey, so I've got my Excalibur and my Aegis shield, and I've got my perfect ultimate great moth waifu, and so I'm just going to poke the Demon King until they submit. Oh no, I've won. Right? Because that is always a thing in those stories where, hey, sometimes some asshole gets to the end before you.
Mm-hmm. Well, as I said, it's a cooperative, competitive game.
Yeah, I'm assuming the cooperative thing is if you all go to the Demon King, you can hang out together, but then you have to be So do we all fuck up and die, or do we just let this guy die? What do we do?
Mhm.
Or it becomes a reverse harem. Hold on, we're all trying to woo the Demon King.
Mhm.
This is getting weird.
Yeah. So like I said, but as much as I want to get on this, like people need to explain this ain't gonna be going anywhere quick.
Oh no, I've said that about that's the thing about these projects. This takes time. Like
Yeah.
this would need dummy versions, mock-ups, and playtesting before we even got to the hey,
Funding.
let's get artists and shit, which is going to be a whole nother thing. And then that's like we got to plan it, then we got to budget it, and then because we're still small, it will be Kickstarter presumably, something like that.
Mm-hmm. So once we got like a good idea of what we want to do, and maybe some baby first art steps, we'll probably be seeing about like bumping this up to Kickstarter and getting the word at it, or getting the word out. Because, like I said, like Lucky's a creative type. Like I am. Like I said, because I'm ADD, it's hard for me for something to click on me and stick. This has clicked on me and stuck, so I'm like, yes, this will be happening.
I definitely noticed that. You got really into, like, shit, I gotta go home and take some notes. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a real project right there. Because I know that feeling, too. Like I said, I'm not really ADD, but there's definitely a difference between, oh, this idea is neat, and then, like, oh, fuck, I like this idea. I have to go home and work on it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I, like, with Star Wars a lot, I do that kind of back and forth with our gaming, where I'm like, okay, so I have a casual idea for this outline. I'll work on it slowly. And then other times it's just like, no, this is perfect. I need to work this through. And sometimes I can force myself. Like, I spent a lot of this one today. I was like, I partially had the start of my outlines, but I'm like, no, today I need to go from start to finish on this adventure. Otherwise we have to do something else. So I was like, okay, I'll just do it. And I collected a lot of bullet points. We got a little thing. Yeah, I definitely, that felt like it, Dallas. You definitely cottoned onto the homebrew thing when you were in there and I'm like, I'll make my own servant. I'm there. I'm done. I'm working on a thing. I'm like, okay, cool. That's not what I was originally intending, but you went the extra mile and had an idea, so I'll roll with it. Omega actually likes that from his players. If you guys have ideas and, like, just get in there, I'm like, well, it's not really what I intended, but I can't say no to your enthusiasm, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's very rare that I have to pull a hard stop and be like, that's not really where I was planning on going with this. We've only had to have those conversations a few times, and I've always learned, like, especially with RPG stuff, it's always better to just talk to people. Just figure out where people are going and what they want to do. And, like, if it's really critical to them to do certain things. Like, if somebody is like, I made my entire character to punch kobolds, and there's not enough kobolds in this adventure, and I'm like, you want to be like, okay, so do you change or do I change kind of thing, right? Like, So is this going to become Kobold Slayer, or... Axe also made that joke, that's great. Or do you, like, find some other outlet for your weird kobold thing, you know? Oh yeah, I expect so. Working with people who have different tastes really goes through. Like, I'm kind of, and we drift stuff all the time, but like that kind of, we talked earlier about Dresden Files RPG. That was definitely a thing that was like, hey guys, I don't have any continuity here. I'm just making up adventures, and you guys were just like, okay, we'll do it. We'll do weird stuff. We'll hang out, and your character drifted a couple times. Like when that the character you made started, you couldn't turn into a wolf, but then you were like, fuck, I'm gonna turn into a wolf.
Yeah.
And you resorted your character so you could buy that power.
Yep. So I guess that's enough for the main proposal of the first StudiOmega board game.
That is what you call your elevator pitch, and yep. I'm like, no, this sounds like it could be fun. I like those kinds of games. So to me, to do allegories, it kind of sounds like you're aiming almost for like a what is a simpler like Kingdom Death monster and stuff. Like you will have a little bit of a character, you will have some interactivity, but it's not full blown, hey, you need to like keep track of your village and shit. Like it's just hopefully everything will be printed on something that you can quickly reference, and hey, if you if I understood you correctly, so if you like quote unquote keep a monster girl and you added it, you literally like set that card somewhere aside. You're not discarding it, but it's not in your hand anymore. So you always can look at it and be like, this is what this does.
Yes. Because, like I said, like the monster girls are going to have like different effects and abilities that like you can use on the field as you like get through encounters. But once the ability is used, she goes back to her field.
Right. I can see like how that works. Like, oh, you just met this person and you negotiated with them, and like there will be I'm sure there'll be some character archetypes that are like really mercenary, where that's just easier. Oh, it's just easier to like pay the goblin a gold coin and then she'll go bomb somebody, but then she's like, okay, I'm gone now, bye. Like if you don't build that relationship first.
Yeah, because actually, I forgot to mention, like, this is where the city comes in, because you will have gold, and you can find it in adventures, but if you're at the city, you can stay in the city to do things, like, you can work at the guild to build up coins, you can stay at the end to work up, health that's been lost, but you have to pay gold. You can go to the club to work on your attractiveness.
To hang out with ladies.
Mm-hmm. And, you can go to the item shop to spend said gold. So...
Okay, look, I have a very, very important question. So, are the ladies running things in the town, because clearly they're all ladies, are they also recruitable?
I mean, I could make a city field deck.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, like, obviously with the design of this, the guild lady, the innkeeper lady, etc., that would totally be in the item shopkeeper. Those would totally be characters in this who would be cute girls. So I'm just thinking, So do they get to be part of the harem too, or are we just going to cockblock the players until we make enough money to do the expansion?
Maybe.
And who knows? That could be a thing, because like I just said, you got to be wary of feature creep. I may have just feature creep lucky there. Like, you don't know. So that's a thing to think about of like, okay, does this flow, or is that like an extra thing?
Because like I said, I'm trying to avoid bloat, and I'm trying to get the primary loop down. Like, because like for a while I was like, do I want like weapon and gear and armor and stuff? And I was like, yeah, I do, because that gives treasure and gives something to spend gold on.
Right, because that can be a mechanical choice too. Like you said, there'll be different like decks for different stuff. So like you go to the the Underdark, the Deep Dank deck, where you can find dark elves and stuff. So you can maybe fight a definitely not copyright infringing spider lady boss. And if you beat her, maybe if you kill her, maybe you get a super sweet, or beat her in a fight. I don't know if we want to say we're killing anybody. I don't know. We'll work on that.
No, we do not kill monster girls.
Okay.
We either recruit them or
defeat them.
Defeat them.
So if you defeat the giant spider lady boss, maybe you get cool, sick spider armor that really is good against something. But if you recruit her, she is a giant spider lady, so she can probably kick a lot of butt, So you have to make that choice. Do I want something for me, or do I want... And who knows, you might actually have players who are like, nah, I'm just going to grind this out. I'm just going to boop Monster Girl Snoot until I get a really good sword and armor and just beat the Demon King that way. Why am I losing? Oh no, my plan didn't work. Oh, and heck, we talk about different Monster Girls. That might be a Demon King type that respects you going it alone, right? Like, you might have a jealous, clingy Demon King who doesn't want you to have other girls in your harem.
Yep. So, like I said, so I want a simple to play game, but with a lot of depth to it, I guess.
Yes, I was just thinking about how to put that. That is some of the best types of games where it's simple to learn, difficult to master.
Yeah. And as I said, when it got in my head, it stuck, because it really, really stuck. So
no, because I think it did start with just like, what if we just made Monster Girls Monopoly spaces? But then it was like, no, we can go a level up from here and not do Monopoly, literally, even though there's a Monopoly for everything. I don't know why it blew up. Maybe it's new, but there's a Miss Monopoly game that just came out, which is, quite frankly, kind of offensive to everybody. It's a really dumb concept where it's it stars Miss Monopoly, who's Mr. Monopoly, Mr. Pennybags' niece. But the game rules are, if you're a lady, if you're a woman, you get $250 when you pass go, and you start with more money. And I've heard several people say, okay, but they could just get paid equally, right? Like, yep. It's the kind of like gross overcompensation that makes you go, hold on, that's a little too on the nose, right? We talked about that with like Allegory. That's a little too direct. That feels like you're trying to shenanigans me somehow. But it was really blowing up on Twitter, especially because Miss Monopoly has a actually I'll Google it. I'll show you what she looks like. I'll show the patrons in case they didn't see it.
Yeah, because I saw a fucking trailer for it, and I was just like, what is this trailer? And it just ends with Miss Monopoly. I'm like, wait a fucking minute.
Wait a second. And it's got like a dumb tagline.
So yeah, so like in like the coming like months, I'll probably like.
Also, Dallas, by the way, you're talking Let's Talk, not Mainline.
Oh,
Dallas left some comments at Let's Talk that are directed. But he did bring up a good point that yes, the original Monopoly was made by a woman to satire capitalism. The point has been lost a little bit, but also I think the original Monopoly was again a little too on the nose, if I remember rightly. Like it was a little too direct, which so it needed some refinement. But yeah, it was originally made by a woman who hated capitalism. But here's Ms. Monopoly.
The first game where women make more than men? Wow.
Yeah, like, wow. Whoa. That's definitely not accurate. I mean, maybe the first game where somebody had to make that a rule, but it's really... Oof. It's a little bit of a misstep, I think, in these trying times. And again, I should say this. I'm not, like, averse to the concept, but I'm like, that's way too on the nose. You're trying way too hard. Because we ourselves talked about, just seconds ago, making our own board game where, like, we should be sensitive to certain people. But also, let's not be too preachy, right?
I don't know. I would have said Monopoly Battle of the Sexes or something. Something that doesn't.
There's also a Monopoly cheat. There's a Monopoly Millennial, too.
Wow.
Though I do remember a lot of people were like, yeah, but the best Monopoly is like SpongeBob Monopoly or Phineas and Ferb Monopoly or anything.
I remember there's a Metal Gear Solid 4 Monopoly.
That's cool. There's JoJoopoly. I believe that's fan-made, but it's on TTS. There's a lot of stuff going on there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, board games. We like those. And I think, honestly, if people are thinking about, like, diversifying and talking about us doing our content, what we do, game design is probably something we would always get into. Because we do that as a hobby anyway, both of us, and we work on stuff. So I think that was always something. Like, I've always had in my head, no, one day we're definitely going to make, like, a card game or a board game or a miniatures game or whatever. That'll definitely happen one day.
Mm-hmm.
One day. But okay, we're at about 3 hours. You got anything further to say on that topic, or to go on? Sorry, I was distracted because I posted something very funny. It act up.
I'm going to go look at it then. Whoop.
It's very on point for some of our discussions.
Yeah, I dig it.
But okay, in that case, I think we'll wrap up so I can go watch more Ghost in the Shell.
Righto.
Okie dokie. Yeah. All right. I think that's everything I wanted to talk about. Okay.
We really didn't talk about gacha games, but I don't think there's really much.
No,
to
there's
talk
not really
about.
anything. I lamented Girls Frontline, and especially Azurelane a little bit, but whatever. There's nothing really big going on. Arknights is still doing their thing.
Mm-hmm.
I know some people are like really keen on us to get into more Arknights content, and I'm like, I guess if we have it, I feel like the game's a little bit. It doesn't seem like it's like FGO, where like even though there is something happening every so many weeks or whatever, it doesn't feel like necessarily it's like a huge deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll continue to pepper it in when we have something to talk about, but it will not be a permanent fixture topic in that sense, right? It'll just be when something happens and we want to talk about it. The only other thing I think I want to mention real briefly is for patrons. So this is a question I actually asked because we were talking about Editor Lucky, who doesn't exist right now. We've sent some guys to dig up his tomb right away, but we're still working on it. The expedition hasn't reported back yet, but it came to my attention that quite a few of our patrons hadn't seen the lost episode of Anime Power Hour, which was Editor Lucky's debut and was quite interesting and funny. I really liked it, what Editor Lucky did. But it did use real anime footage, so we got blasted super hard and copyrighted, and it cannot exist on YouTube. It was literally taken down. So I linked patrons to it, and apparently the original Dropbox or whatever I had expired, so I re-uploaded it, and it was still a little finicky, but I think it works. So just if you're a patron at any level now, you can go back and view the lost episode. It's a fairly recent post. You'll have to download it and view it as an AVI or whatever, but it exists, and you should check it out to see something special. And just, if you're not a patron, I'm sorry, but we literally can't post that on a public platform, I don't think. They'll come to get us. But so check that out. That's a thing I just want to remind everybody of. And if you have thoughts and feelings on the lost episode, let us know. Heck, if you had thoughts and feelings on Anime Power Hour, let us know about that. And you should have let us know about that like 2 years ago. Maybe we wouldn't have canceled. No, that's okay. Yeah. We killed Anime Power Hour so What's Up could live.
And What's Up continues to live.
What's Up is a much better version of that show. I was about to say I don't know what I was thinking, but I know what I was thinking, but my idea was not good. Or at least the audience didn't resonate with it, I don't think.
Yeah, to spin this capsule, give me shit!
Yeah. No, I'm not caught up on story, because I'm doing events right now. That's my thing with Arknights, is I don't have enough time to dedicate to Arknights where I'm like, I'm gonna sit down, like, I can't go from, I'm gonna sit down and grind Obsidian, but also I'm gonna do story chapters, so I just need it to not be doing a thing, so that I can go do the thing. I don't know about any of that. That's too much future. Theoretic King. I have no idea what that is. I don't know if I care. I'll yell at it, or I won't. That is the thing. I don't think people, like, I understand some people are really enthusiastic about Arknights. We like Arknights, but we're not, like, amazed by it. It's not the coolest thing ever to us. So, our lives don't revolve around it, I guess. So, you will never probably get the level of buy-in you get on Let's Talk FGO that we do for Arknights. You won't get that level. Well, you wanna. I still don't have a siege, so... Alright, let's wrap up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because I gotta go watch Ghost in the Shell.
Mm-hmm.
Ghost in the Goo. Alright. So, hey, if you watch this video on YouTube and you liked it, give it a like. If you have any comments, seriously, if you have any comments, leave them in the comment section down below. We do, in fact, read and appreciate them. You can also hit us up on our Discord. The link is in the description and our channel page, as always. And also, if you're new here and haven't already, please subscribe to the channel so you can always get our latest videos. We're pretty close to 2,500. That'll be a big milestone. Be sure to, help us out. Sub. Get in there. And of course, even if you're already subbed, consider hitting that bell for notifications so you always know when we post a new video or when we stream. It's actually kind of important. We try to blast out our message as much as possible, but supposedly if you have notifications on and you have set them to all, you should know when we do stuff pretty reliably.
Hey, Chin's level 80 now. Booyah.
Nice. And then, other than that, you can also support us on Patreon, like we said earlier, at multiple points, possibly in the future past. For as little as $1 a month, you can get the audio downloads of these episodes at no additional cost. Just download them whenever you want, listen to them whenever. They happen right away. As soon as we're done editing, we post the audio. You can also, at different levels, get early access to videos, access to polls, access to the show live, all kinds of fun stuff. And like we said, it really helps out. It really supports us. And that is What's Up for this week. Tune in next week for more What's Up. Make sure to check out the episode of Let's Talk FGO that came out already this week and other stuff. And stay tuned for more streams and for, like Omega said, look forward to some of what I'm tentatively calling filthy casual plays.
It'll be a search into, don't worry.
All right.
T-bomb.
Shirt bomb.